Markets currently poised here to open lower. Here's the S&P 500 gapping down a bit. NASDAQ gapping out a little bit more sharply. We'll get to some of that tech weakness in a minute. But of course, USO and these oil plays are still going to be on focus as we continue to hear headlines about the U.S. and Iran. USO actually bounced quite significantly here off of day lows yesterday. Currently, though, still poised to gap down a bit this morning. Let's take a look here at TSM. As I mentioned, we're going to get some tech weakness in focus, and that's very much the case here with Taiwan Semi. Despite a strong report and announcing additional investment in the U.S., this name still trading lower pre-market. You also have a lot of these memory names in focus, SK Hynix, of course, but Micron, SanDisk also trading sharply lower. Now back to kind of TSM with earnings. There's other earnings names to discuss as well. UNH to the upside here. GE right now trying to bounce a little bit off of these pre-market lows. UAL also reported. So there's a lot of earnings here to talk about ahead of that Netflix report tonight. We're going to talk about some other names here, but first I want to get into a little bit of housekeeping. At 8:30 a.m., you're going to be getting retail sales and U.S. initial jobless claims. So, of course, I'll have both of those for you at this desk right here. Also, core retail sales and the Philly Fed Business Index. At 10 a.m., you get pending home sales, the NAHB Housing Market Index, and business inventories. Then at 12:30 p.m., you get comments from Fed's Logan. At 1 p.m., you get the White House press briefing with Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, the first one we've had since a while, since she had her baby. And then you're going to be getting at 1:25 p.m. comments from Fed's Schmid. So lots of Fed speak in focus, and that press briefing at 1 p.m. certainly going to be on watch if you're trading during that midday session. Speaking of the midday, of course, here with us is Sharif every morning. Good morning, Sharif. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you, Adara. I'm well. All right, guys, let's get right down to work. NVIDIA, Toyota, Japan, a lot of partnerships being formed there. Lots to talk about robotics and sovereign AI in focus there. Then we get a possible leadership change here at AWS, Amazon's biggest division, of course, and their biggest money maker. Microsoft really trying to push in-house LLMs. They don't want any sort of auxiliary third-party apps being pushed by any of their sales team. And Wedbush giving Google the nod today with a big price target upgrade. And of course, we are waiting for Netflix after the bell. It has been a tough year for them. And the Dow is the only major average that's positive. And that's because it's price weighted. And UNH, as Adara alluded to, is up 5 1/3 here. UAL in focus, their biggest fuel expense ever this past quarter. So we'll speak a little bit about that. Baidu and Alibaba also tying the knot there with the Apple deal. And then Lilly throwing their hat, Eli Lilly, throwing their hat into the psychedelic ring here with a possible acquisition of Atia Life Sciences. That's pushing the entire sector up. Keep your eye as well on DFTX. That's a name that I have. And then Uber and delivery hero Adara could create a global delivery leader.
Yeah, there's a lot of these acquisitions and partnerships that are going to be in focus today. We're going to send you over to the guys in a minute. I just want to go over some of the top symbols traded in Blue Ocean last night. We're not going to go over every name because, as you guys can see, it's still a lot of tech, still a lot of memory. But ASML stood out to me in 6th place here, top traded by notional volume. That was significant. You also have Intel and NVIDIA here in the 8th and 9th spot, respectively. So lots of tech, but we're seeing some more chips maybe trying to edge out these memory names and South Korea ETFs in Blue Ocean last night. But forget about last night. It's the morning. We have new names to talk about, new names to trade, and we're going to welcome here Sean and Neil to get into that. Good morning, guys.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. And
my list here.
Not the best morning for the market because, once again, good company, strong earnings, TSM, and it goes down. So basically every single chip name is gapped to the downside. What are you going to do about it?
Big time.
And they're all pretty bad. Like it's
That's
3 to 5%.
Down here. It's like the Nasdaq's actually down quite a lot, but like Microsoft's doing well, Apple's doing well.
Mags are okay.
Google got upgraded. Like all these major names are actually doing quite well.
Yep.
And I was just writing down like it's just these DRAM names. Like it's the Micron, it's the SK Hynix. We were watching SK Hynix absolutely moon over the last couple of days. Back up into 190 or whatever the prices were, and now you're all the way back in here on Micron. SK Hynix getting hit as well to the downside, but yeah, 163 right now. Wow. Okay.
It could break. It could test its low.
Yeah.
Today or tomorrow.
Yeah. What was the? Oh yeah.
It hit 150.
But we came out at 170, right? Because I keep forgetting because we have the. It was 170 was the IPO price, or I keep calling it IPO, the direct listed.
We don't have that first day.
We don't have that first day in our charts, but yeah, you are pulling back into 163 now, so not looking good. This stock kind of reminds me maybe of the English soccer team, Neil, where we were really flying high, and all of a sudden here
That's
in the
about
last
right.
10 minutes. And it's funny because there's only really two teams that are passionate here. It'd be England maybe a little bit and Egypt. And Argentina did dirty to both of those teams.
They really did.
So I guess maybe we cheer for Argentina. Oh yeah, that is the thing. Now do we cheer for Argentina to win, or what? Like, or is it like?
I don't know what the hell to do.
I always felt the same way, like the Leafs, and whenever they lost to a team, it's like,
You'd like hopefully that team beats
yeah, you think like, oh well, at least we lost to the Stanley Cup champion.
Here's what I'm doing. My daughter at dinner last night was literally doing chants for Spain at the dinner table, and she's a big I think Messi's better than Ronaldo. She's a big Ronaldo person, so she's cheering against Messi.
Right. Okay.
So I want to just go with her, but then I also believe Messi's better than Ronaldo. So I don't know what it. I think it'll be a great match. So it'll be fun to watch. But I can't even say that I care at this point. I'm just the decision making. One thing I don't like in sport is when you get like a small lead or you feel like you've got a little bit of advantage and you take your foot off the gas. Like it's like you don't do. You've got to maintain pressure. You play not to lose instead of trying to play to win. You can't do that against great teams. That's my only beef with England. That's what gets you frustrated. It's like, well, even like the smartest analysts were all saying, it's not like it's armchair. So everybody was saying, well, like, why would you do this?
Yeah, they took the foot. As soon as they got that goal, they basically went into defense.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that. I hate that mentality.
But you know what? I mean, I don't know if it would have mattered anyways, but at the end of the day, it might have. Who knows? But anyway, shout out to it's been a good World Cup, I think. Some account back in 2021 tweeted out, Argentina just beat Spain 3-2 in the 2026 World Cup finals. Yeah, so it's making the waves around the Twitterverse here or whatever. So someone had posted that, who knows? So there's a bunch of accounts right now. It's at 30 to 40 to 1 online to bet that exact score. I don't know if Argentina's going to score 3 goals against Spain, but
that seems like a tall task.
Yeah, it should be a good one. That's Sunday afternoon-ish, I think, 3 o'clock or so. So find out where you guys are going to be Sunday afternoon. I think I'll be on the road. Yeah, it's in Jersey. Yeah, it's in the Meadowlands there, so it's going to be, or MetLife. Yeah.
Hopefully the air quality's better.
Oh yeah, I guess
I didn't even think about that. Will that still be
shipping down there?
Today's
Thursday. Maybe it's supposed to be clearing up around. Yeah, I think it'll probably be fine.
Yeah.
If it is bad, yeah, I wonder what they're gonna do if that's the case here. But yeah, SK Hynix still falling, man. I mean, the market's falling down. It's now down 1%. Kind of sucks to sit here and watch this market collapse all over itself. And the other name that I have as one of the number one ideas for me today is going to be watching SpaceX again. I mean, we had this on the radar yesterday. We had some good trades there into the short side of this trade. And then we'll wait to see, and then it pop back up into the close, so no surprise there. So let's just wait to see. I wrote down 136. We'll see if we can get some high side trades here happening on SpaceX today as well. So, yes, man, it's going to be a great trading day once again. Look at SpaceX. Wow, this looks pretty interesting as well, man. Just falling down. I don't know what these lines are down here, but definitely falling down. Oh, look, so it looks like we had.
It's like
SPCX was like other.
It must have been
down
something
here
else.
For something.
Must have been another.
Yeah, and then anyways, all the way back in here for SpaceX. That's not looking great at all at that 135 marker. But we'll see if we can wind up holding that there. So yeah, all good over on this side of things. Bitcoin also.
There is some good news.
Yeah, I saw that one. We're talking about the Dow.
Yeah, like UNH continues its breakout. So that's still good news and a good look for them as they head to the upside. The last I checked too, hopefully I'm not jinxing it, because the last I had looked, Uber was actually trying to go. They're doing this Deliveroo. Well, I don't know if that one's not done yet. The Eli Lilly thing with that ATAI, that's an actual deal. $675 plus the CVR. So they are going into psychedelics with that purchase, but the Deliveroo or Delivery Hero.
Yes, in London, wasn't it?
That deal, I haven't seen that one firm, but Uber was trying to go. It doesn't look like it's doing much more. It had one little pop, but that announcement also could happen. So yeah, UNH is probably the name that's making you feel good about things at this point. Not much else in terms of like the earning names as a catalyst that's going to be gapping up. And I feel like it's been, you guys tell me in the chat. I see Mike Peter Ryder in there. I haven't seen Tisha this morning. I haven't seen a lot of small cappers being thrown around out there. Sharif, what's on your radar today? Because like yesterday, really, if you were looking at, like, there were a couple of really bad downtrend ones that kind of gave it up a little bit. And really the one that you wanted to have was a recovery in Lucid, if anything else. Anything on your radar?
The pickings were extremely slim yesterday, Neil, during the midday. Right now, that is not the case. There goes IQST through highs into $1.25. The breakout just came in right now. It's up 36%. We closed out at about 88 pennies yesterday. We just touched $1.24. It is a different trade, guys, north and south of that dollar. I'd say look for a decisive clearing and a hold of the dollar, especially on a pretty aggressive or parabolic break like this. With respect to news items, you know, I don't really follow the news items for these small cap gappers. It doesn't really interest me. We're just going to keep an eye on the technical as long as it's below, above the volume weighted average price. And if it's able to clear the dollar, we're going to keep it on watch here for the midday, Adara.
Of earnings names. We're going to get right into TSM in a minute, but I also want to mention here UNH. Apparently their earnings call, getting some notes from that call, which began at 8 a.m. Apparently they're saying the Medicare medical cost trend is now expected to come in below their initial estimate of around 10% for 2026, which has been aided by benefit design, care management, and network curation. So more fairly positive comments from a stock and a company here that's doing really well off of earnings. UNH we'll get more into during our rundown probably. For now, we'll talk here about TSM, which is, despite a really strong report and that heightened U.S. investment, it's trading lower right now, Sharif.
Yeah, it is, Adara, but so are all the chips. So I don't think this one's in isolation. Let's talk about the 706.6 billion new Taiwanese dollars in net income. That's their profitability. They also, on the call, used something similar to this statement that the unstoppable AI demand, that they can't seem to quench the insatiable appetite from some of these tech giants. Let's talk though about some of the parts of this report. They've recorded for the first time ever income revenue from their 2 nanometer process, which accounted for a surprise 3% of total wafers in Q2. That is the first time that they've actually realized revenue from that. That is the high end. And their gross margins were around 67.7%. However, that's as good as it's going to get for a while. It's going to drop down now to 66% because they're going to lose about 3 to 4% on gross margins, having to expand out their fab for that same 2 nanometer process there as they look to the next gen of chips. So look for weaker profitability going into the next year or so. High performance computing, though, now taking by far the bulk of their output. So listen to this, guys. Remember, they used to be really known for a lot of the chip designs for Apple and cell phones. Well, that's only about now 4% of their business. Okay, 66% now is high performance computing. That's something to think about as well. And then last but not least, their blowout net income was heavily padded by a non-operating item. What am I talking about? They made about $2 billion from selling the bulk of their Vanguard International Semiconductor ETF. So that $2 billion has nothing to do with operations, of course, but that it is included, Adara, in the net income.
Yeah, interesting look here for that TSM on that earnings report. How do you guys feel about Taiwan Semi and some of these other chip plays as well?
An unfortunate one. Like this is kind of like the bellwether for today. Like if TSM doesn't get a bounce, and again, good quarter, but like when you start calling a top when it comes to margins, that's a bit of a problem. But I mean, ultimately, the thing that sucks about this, just from the technical standpoint, is you're also breaking the 50 period on the day of those earnings. So it was a perfect opportunity to show up, have a good report, bounce off to 50, which in a trend is just the resumption of the trend. So even if it catches a bid today, I wouldn't be celebrating anything unless it gets back above 420 to 422. Like it could inconceivably bounce, 2-3%, get into the 10s, get into the teens, and then just be a bit of a fake out because we're still losing the 50 period and breaking the trend line. So this one it's a little bit of concern. I think ultimately when you look at the growth that they've had with the 3 and the 5, like now, I think it was 60 to 70%. Sharif said there is going to be the 3 and 5 nanometer. That shows you what Intel is trying to capture, and they've been so far behind. But everybody is spending more for fabs in the U.S. Intel's doing the same thing. So in sympathy, you're going to see Intel down, not quite the same thing. They didn't actually report, but very similarly down because if you're stretching margins for TSM and they're the leader, that obviously doesn't bode well for those that are spending to catch up to you. Still hasn't made the flat bottom break, about $96, $97. There's still a little bit of support left, but I think in this particular case, I'm not really thinking bounce on TSM is successful unless it's above the 420 level, and they're the reason why I'm looking southbound in chip names today. So yeah, I'm going to be shorting some pots today. The DRAM's going to be on the mind for sure. I mean, SK Hynix will be in there because the memory names are going to be first and forefront. Intel feels like it's fallen really far, and it's back underneath the 100 level, so it's hard to look at the 10. I like the 103 to 104, which seemed a lot more realistic earlier in the morning, but it's just been drifting ever since. Now you need like a 3. You almost need to go close to green here for Intel, which was only a point away to get to resistance. Now you'd have to really fly for it to get up this. I'm backing away from Intel. Do not like what I see first day from TSM. I think right now there's like this rotation going on away from chips into the mags, saying, okay, well, we feel a little bit better about them.
Yeah, look, yesterday we were short Intel. Today we're going to be short Intel. Everything on that Taiwan semi quarter. I mean, I just read our note. 33%. Here, I'll pop it out so you guys can see it. I mean, first of all, go ahead right now and go grab our morning watch list, right? Forget about Shreef's morning note is just amazing with the detail. But if you just want to get some rough, guidelines here about maybe potentially what you may want to look at heading today, look at this, 33% year-over-year growth, revenue, right? Net. This word is called profit right here. You see, like, there's many companies out here that aren't even making profit that we trade every single day. This one grew by 77%. Profit grew 77%. If my trading grew 77%, like this, to 22.36 billion. Well, see this word? Well above estimates of 19 billion.
Not well enough.
Okay? The company projected between 44.6 to 45 billion, beating, see this word here? Beating estimates of 43, right? Everything else, what we're in line, I guess, maybe the operating margins, maybe that's the problem right there. Hiking CapEx. I mean, we see the big CapEx spenders out there like Meta and whatnot going to the upside here as well. Hiking CapEx, investing towards more manufacturing. Like this name should, and there's SK Hynix, its friend down there as well right now. This should be up, and it's not. It's not even close. It's down 5% and it's breaking a lot lower. The thing is, we're going to have Mitch coming from Trade the Pool today. And one of his picks 2 weeks ago was Taiwan Semi. So we can find out, we can ask him what he's up to here today, because breaking lower right now on TSM, we'll see if he still likes it. And look, the thing is like, I don't know, if he comes in and says, well, he got out at the top, then you gotta, what it is what it is. I don't know what he's doing with his trades, but that was just one of those moves that now we've come back in here, and we'll have to wait to see what winds up happening with Taiwan Semi, because this is a play that I actually think makes reason to like this stock. We do hear about, the demand still there for chip space, and, I know it's getting a little crowded in this space, but with those kind of numbers, very disappointing to see Taiwan Semi down today and, giving it all the way back to April. So like this huge kind of boon that this whole market had. Marvell's the same way, Intel's the same way. I feel like AMD is going to go boom soon. Yeah, I feel like over the last 2 weeks, I've really talked about AMD here and where I think this name's potentially going now. I even asked Brian about it, and he's like, well, it's probably a safe one to hold on to until it fails. And guess what's happening right now? I talked to Brian about this at 550. Now you're down 10% from 550 there. So, losing a little bit. Yeah, got it there, Andre. No problem, my guy. Losing 500 right here would be a problem for AMD. So, yeah, man, today I have Intel written down, just like you were saying. DRAM should be in play. I got SpaceX, I got the Qs, and I've got some iBit love as well. But guess what? Every single trade begins with an S, and it's short. So today we're going to be going short this market. NASDAQ down 1%. We'll see if it can hold some of these levels. And this is a 50-period moving average, man. These are highs. This is a lower one. 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 So yeah, we keep on making lower highs here as we head down the sloping NASDAQ channel for today. Someone that's always looking upside. It's Joe over here. I think it's options to start with. We don't have the screen working back there today for some control.
Doing it old school.
Yeah, he's going to do it old school here at the desk. So, Joe, hit him old school. Or not.
Yeah, we could do it. We can hit them old school. Speaking of shorts here, Katina, man, we're going to take a look at a name that I was mentioning yesterday, and also with the rumors of going potentially private, then saying, no, these are false statements. You see a little bit of a turnaround, but what we want to look at here is Lucid. At this $5 strike price, guys, I mean, never mind any of the other metrics. I just want to focus on the specific put contract, and it's going to be that $5 strike price. Now, Sharif and I and a couple other individuals here on the floor were just like, okay, what's going on? Oh, we have to order shorts. Well, never mind all that. You could, if you have options permission, you go straight to the chain, you buy those fixed risk derivatives, and you can end up just like this potential Lucid trade here, guys. So what we'll do is we'll zoom in a little bit and we'll take a look at what we have on this specific name. And as soon as that news dropped, this specific contract has had an insane appreciation, all right? Like, if we start, it's near impossible unless you've been holding these contracts for whatever reason before the catalyst drops, then you get a substantial return. But here we're still sitting on 1,100%, 5 minutes after, even more, right? Like 15 minutes after that news dropped, these contracts just absolutely went insane, going from $20 all the way to $2.45. That's 1,100%. All right, so that's some big time return ROI there, guys. Moving forward, let's take a look at our next contract. Another name that went absolutely insane yesterday, Apple, $330 strike price. We're going to be looking more closer to at the money on this one here, guys. We're now trading around 328. Open interest at that specific zone sitting at 19,900 contracts and volume at 55,000 open and closed on yesterday's session. Relatively widespread, relatively speaking, for AAPL. Now, as for our delta sitting on $37 and our gamma exposure, relatively light. At the money is elevated for Apple, sitting around 29.6%. But some nice returns here in this specific contract as well, going to be expiring tomorrow. We're looking at around 756%. A lot easier said than done, but as Trav, man, for real, Ozan, some of these closer expiration date contracts is where you're going to see the most exponential return. All right, moving forward, considering we're here, we may as well take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. Lululemon at the top of the list, guys, going from a hold to a sell. A sell rating here, guys. We're down 2.25% with a $94 price target. IMAX also getting the downgrade, going from an overweight to an equal weight. We're down 2.27% as well. Wells Fargo giving them the downgrade, a $41 price target. That is down from $47. Now, Etsy getting the downgrade, guys. We're positive this morning, 1.3%, but going from a buy to a neutral weight. No specific target there. BTIG giving that downgrade. Now, Pentair down 1.4%, going from a buy to a hold, and a $65 price target. That is down from $103. Now, to look at some more positive things, guys, Palo Alto Networks, PAN-W here up 1.3%, going from an equal weight to an overweight, and a $421 price target. That is up from $307. Now, ASML with an overweight rating, but a $200 price increase on that target, guys, going to $2,400. That's up from $2,200. JP Morgan giving them the nod. We're negative 1.9%. Now, AVAV with the nod this morning as well, getting the approval to the tune of a $210 price target, going from market perform to outperform. We're up 1.8% this morning. Now, OKTA up 1.4%, going from an equal weight to an overweight with a $171 price target. That is up from $126 by Capital One. Let's send it back to the boys.
Cybersecurity.
I mean,
the monthly chart on PAN-W, that's the best. Like, sometimes it's like you can't, you look at daily charts because most of the time on the show, that's what you're doing. Like, if you're short-term trading or even like swing trading, whatever, that's what you're going to look at. But when you pull these suckers up on monthlies, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. And that would be CrowdStrike. So obviously, here we can go back to a daily chart to show you what's happening right now on it. But absolute rocket ships and hasn't even broken out the top yet. I'm talking about specifically about Palo Alto here. And you heard this, remember a couple of days ago when the biggest story was, like, no one's even talking about IBM's 25% drop anymore? Well, the thing that came out of that was spending going in cybersecurity and memory. And really, the bounce was almost instantly after those comments in some of the cybersecurity things, but we haven't really taken out that top yet, 369. Upgrades aren't really the juice that'll get you going, but note, up a point here with the market down 1%, still holding uptrend. Like, to me, this is where, if things get hazy, get nastier today, then this could be a place where you want to look for some value dip buys in the next couple of days and weeks. If the market is really starting to give it back, well, this is something still holding uptrend near the top, where if we get a pullback, at least you're pulling back into trend support, as opposed to a whole heap of other things that are losing it. Have already lost it in the case of DRAM, are losing it in the case of TSM, have flat bottom breaks all over the place we were pointing out. This is an uptrend which is holding.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at Lululemon there, and I mean, the same kind of thing there where we talked about it, bad quarter, came in, got a rebound off that quarter, but only got to the 50-period moving average. We hadn't really seen a break in the 50-period moving average in a long time for Lululemon. I mean, this goes all the way back to January. So, about 7 months here of just downside action on Lulu, bouncing off the 50-period moving average. And so this one, the downgrade kind of makes sense. It's caught, it caught a bid. Now it's catching a little bit of slack here at the 50-period moving average on the daily. So, just to talk about something other than tech for a second, Lulu downside right there. One stock that's really been blasting off, and this is a name that I still own, only a quarter of this position. We got 122. We got out of the majority of it, but Target is, I don't know. I mean, this name just continues to work real well, man. We just got another, I mean, as like Lulu, is opposite, this one bouncing upside off of the 50-period moving average. So, I like Target, man. It's almost at that target price right there of 140. So, watch out for Target. I want to watch out for everybody that's joining us here right now live everywhere, right? I mean, we have a whole bunch of YouTubers, but then I scroll down and we see here, there's a 1 cent gift from Peter again. Thank you so much for that one. From TikTok, everything but nothing, also on TikTok. Why is Microsoft flying? Yeah, man, it is flying recently. Microsoft, again, trying to monetize Copilot, Azure, talking about that coming through. Microsoft, one of the names on the Mag 7 that really has been beat up, that we'll talk more about Microsoft, but starting to catch some bids there on Microsoft, and positive mentions with OpenAI and some other things there with Microsoft's trying to go a little higher right there. Thank you, Bravely, for managing everything over there on TikTok. And here's DJ Vinning again saying, what's up, y'all? DJ. And here's Tommy Gunn as well there on TikTok. So, yeah, thank you to everybody that's being here. MF Dane, Generous, Crap Stock, Mike P. DeRider, always great to have you, obviously, in the chat, talking to whomever you want to, including yourself. So we really appreciate that. Wannabe trader in here as well. Hey, if you want to be a trader, you're in the right spot. We're going to try to help you out with some good trading ideas and some back and forth. Randy, I see breakfast is here. What is it, my guy?
Eggs and bacon.
Oh my God, it's a mound of bacon with these eggs.
Once again,
I will say, shout out to Randy.
All the bacon's gone now.
Taking all of the bacon before anybody else gets a chance to, but should be not all of it, just half of it.
Notice how Randy didn't show you the plate. He's gonna walk around here, but he won't have the plate in his hand because it was all the bacon.
It was almost all of the bacon. It was pea meal before, wasn't it? We had pea. No, I know it's not today, but I think last week it was really good bacon, and we'll see what's happening here today. But yeah, Target on our mind early today. It's 8:30 almost. We do have. I don't see him here yet, but we are to have Mitch. I believe he's in the calendar for today.
Oh, so we do also have. We also have retail sales and jobless claims coming in just about 1 minute. So some economic data today. We also are going to have, I believe it'll be Philly Fed as well. So let's go up to the desk. We've got numbers with Adara.
There's a couple numbers here that we're expecting. The two key ones are going to be retail sales month over month and the U.S. initial jobless claims. So retail sales month over month here, 0.2% is the forecast, 0.9% is the previous. So we are expecting here a little bit of a drop from that prior number. Initial jobless claims, 217,000, which would be a little bit of an uptick from the 215,000 prior. Also looking for core retail sales month over month, negative 0.1% is what we're expecting versus 0.8% prior. Philly Fed Business Index, as Neil mentioned here, 12.5 was the forecast. Prior print here is 10.3. So most of these numbers save for initial jobless claims are actually expected to drop from what the prior print was. And again, guys, looking forward at 10 a.m., you're going to be getting pending home sales, NAHB housing market index, and business inventories month over month, along with some Fed comments later in the afternoon. Now we're just 5 seconds to go here until this retail sales and initial jobless claims data is released. So we get initial jobless claims, 208,000. That's going to be lower than the 217,000 expected. Retail sales up month over month, 0.2%, in line here with estimates of 0.2%. And then this core retail sales number a little bit lower actually than we were expecting, negative 0.2% versus negative 0.1% expected. But Philly Fed Business Index well above estimates, 41.4 versus 12.5 expected. Market not really reacting too hard to this. Yeah, here's the NASDAQ, we already saw the SPY, not too much of a move. Let's get into some more stories here before we send you back up to the guys, because ASTS made a pretty big drop yesterday after the bell. Convertible senior note offering here. Yeah,
$1 billion, give or take, at 1.625. It's going to be due in 2034. It's going to yield a little bit less than $1 billion, which is interesting here. Not something I could typically see. $983.6 million. The net proceeds are going to be used to fund network expansion, satellite launches, acquisitions, but they were very alive, Adara, to the fact that this causes dilution when you issue new shares. So what they did was they structured it through an options route which allows them possibly, if the price of the stock hits a certain level, to prevent dilution. Let's get to it. So a feature in the initial conversion price of approximately $79.57. This is accompanied by capped call transactions with a $149.20 cap price to minimize dilution. So here's how it works. So if AST Space Mobile stock rises above the conversion price, which again is $79.57, the capped call option, Joey, effectively buys back the shares or delivers the cash to cover the conversion up to a share price of $149.20. So what does this do? What's the result? It neutralizes the need to issue brand new shares to bondholders, and that prevents the existing shareholders from being watered down, diluted, right, within that $79.57 price to $149.20 price. If it goes above that, there is dilution as well, but it has to reach that level. So interesting look here.
Yeah, let's talk Uber here as well. We've been hearing a lot about this takeover bid that they may or may not be doing here for Delivery Hero, but now it sounds like, according to reports anyway, that it's officially been launched, valuing this company at $14.8 billion.
14.8, exactly. And now they have 99 markets with which to work and gross bookings of about $236 billion. It's going to be bought out all cash, $14.50 per share. But it's not like Uber is just bleeding money everywhere. They're actually going to have to go borrow from this, Adara. They're going to Morgan Stanley here for a bridge loan for 14.2 billion euros. That's going to hurt, obviously, profitability in the near term, as they will have to pay interest on that. But to preemptively clear any antitrust issues, which the Europeans love to engage in, what they did was they divested a lot of their business across 14 European and South American markets to this New York-based SSW Partners for about 1.4 billion euros, about $1.6 billion. And they also had trouble with the German labor unions. The German labor unions very alive to the fact that Delivery Hero is their baby, and they didn't want to see it divested and have, lots of job losses. So Uber made specific undertakings here that they're not going to lay anybody off until 2029, and they're going to have to invest 2 billion euros into Germany. And then prior to this announcement, Adara, Uber was quietly building up some shares here of Delivery Hero. They were bought up about 37% of shares in derivatives. Yeah, sounds like a lot of planning here from Uber for this trade. Are you guys looking at UBER today?
Not unless it was breaking that 74 level. I think, unfortunately, you have news, but you're trading exactly in the same range that you were before. That's what you want to watch. I mean, if you've got Zetra entitlements, go trade Delivery Hero. That's actually doing a little bit of something and a little bit of a nice range bound that you can play. It looks like you could play it back and forth on some momentum. But now Uber, you got to break 74. This has been a very, very long, call it a consolidation. I mean, the good news is when things are falling, Uber is still trading between the 70 and 75 area. When things are ripping, Uber is still trading between 70 and 75. So good, bad in between. if it doesn't break out of this range, this feels like a very much, you either love it enough to buy accumulation, because that's the only play here. Like there's just nothing really much for a day trade because it's not getting outside of this range. A start would have been this news taking it above 74, and then you could have some room to run with, but we're not. It is just not happening. Good morning to you, DJ Vinny. Over here. Appreciate the gift from TikTok, all of our viewers. Right now, it's not a good morning for the markets, but if you own Delivery Hero, you're happy with that. If you think that this is good for Uber, then you've got accumulation that you can buy into. If you wanted to buy dips and chips, then today has been about the best day for you. So I want to thank you for that gift. We appreciate you. Not much of a gift yet for Uber on that news. It just won't move.
No, I just don't. I've talked about not being happy with this Uber trade. It's been really flat here for 4 or 5 months. I mean, this goes all the way back to February, actually. So, 6 months or so here, just absolutely nothing. And, had some chances to break through that $80 mark, hasn't done it. It got to 80 here, got to 80 here, almost got to 80 there. And it just feels like it needs some sort of a catalyst. And honestly, I'm trying to wrap my head around what the next big catalyst for Uber will be. Maybe I'll have to ask Gemini that answer or that question and get an answer. But yeah, I just don't really see, with robo-taxis around the corner, with everything we talked about with Waymo and I don't know, this whole gig economy, like I don't know if Uber is going to eventually go or not. Like I feel like it should already be up here. People using Ubers all the time, travel's back right now. A stock like Airbnb, I haven't looked at this in a while. Let's have a quick look at Airbnb and see. I just equate the two because of the travel aspect of it, right? I mean, this is what Airbnb's been doing. And to say that I would have rather been in Airbnb than Uber, like I always thought that I would have rather been in Uber to try to play off some of the whole, new movements here with travel and, summertime and all that kind of stuff been happening. And, Airbnb's from 120 up to 150, and that's breaking some of the highs. And now that I look at this, like this stock looks like it's ready, primed up to go a little bit. Now this is just looking at a daily chart. So, but kicking out some of these levels, Airbnb looks pretty safe here at 140 to 145. Uber underneath all of this can't get going. Meanwhile, here we go again for a stock that I should probably be in instead of Uber. So yeah, like the name. I get caught in a name like Uber because, it's very popular and we all know, you see them all over the place. We all have the app downloaded, but look what Lyft is doing, for example. Obviously if we go back to February, they're probably a tale of two names, same kind of levels back to February, but at least for some reason here, Lyft is getting that little bit of a bump through some of those levels. So looking a little bit better here for Lyft rather than Uber, here. So I don't know. Both these names not super exciting. Airbnb, I wish we would have looked at that a little bit more in the long-term portfolio, but that looks looking better than the rest. So yeah. All right, we teased it there a little bit. I wanted to get Mitch is going to be here, and I know the Adair and Sharif's going to talk to him. But last time, which I believe was 2 weeks ago, we did have Mitch on and he was talking about TSM. So I wanted to get his opinion on today's quarter as well. Now that we're starting to gap down a little bit, I feel like we like the stock. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to like TSM, one of the leaders, if not the leader, in the space. And now today with what I thought was a decent quarter, of course, inline margins, come on, down 4% for that reason. But here we go, coming to the downside. So I'm wondering, Adair, if Mitch still likes TSM here. Maybe this is a good buy the dip opportunity. Let's go back over to the desk and find out that answer and more with Adara, Sharif, and Mitch.
Yeah, we've got Money Mitch Hoke here over from Trade the Pool with a long list of stocks you want to get into today. Good morning, Mitch. How are you? And I guess, how do you feel about TSM?
Oh, I'm feeling good. I mean, at the end of the day, this is kind of the classic just wash right before the earnings are really kicking off. Of course, mega cap will start next week. And I think that this is exactly why we're seeing this kind of turning action, right? We're seeing a little bit of a sell-off on the hardware actions going to the Mag 7. Right, so that's one thing that I will note on TSM's earning here. There was really nothing bad underneath the hood. And so the reaction down just tells me more and more these stocks are are just out of favor for the time being. What we need to be watching for is the mags, right? Because the mags was doing really great. We'll look to see can Amazon continue chugging along, Apple, Google, of course, reports next week, and so does Tesla. That's one name that I have on the radar right now because I am seeing some cyclicals starting to turn. And what we've really been seeing in this market is really the piston effect. Last time I was on here, I was talking about it. As one sector comes up, the other comes down, right? And so we're going to look for that continued action to continue today.
Let's get right into it. I know you have this playbook of stuff to talk about. So let's start here with, I guess, how the S&P 500 is doing and why this level is going to be impacting your picks for the day.
I think what we need to be watching right now is on the SPY overall, right? We've been in this kind of symmetrical triangle. We pushed above, and now we started to hold the throwback look. Now we'll look to see, can we get that push above? If not, we go right back in this symmetrical triangle, and the Qs are on the bottom end of that symmetrical triangle. So that's something to watch for to see if we break down, right? So I think right now we could put some pressure on this look and see some chop going into next week. And this just does what? This makes the uncertainty play into tech when really it's probably the time to be looking at tech as you go to these earnings reports and could see continued upside.
Yeah, let's I guess talk here about this AI bifurcation rule. How is this going to be impacting, I guess, what type of stocks you're looking at in terms of, what's going up and what's headed back on the way down?
Yeah, just look for hardware names that kind of still struggle here. And a tell sign is like ASML, right? It had a really good report yesterday, but yet you saw the semiconductor equipment names really start to pull back. I think this is just a classic kind of pullback. We should be looking at medium-term moving averages to be having that shopping list ready. I don't think AI is done here. And when you look at the reports have been all great. And really, CapEx continuing to grow. I think this is more of a concern of what? Let's just go ahead and put this low uncertainty into the markets and look to see if the big boys are still meeting the revenues necessary to continue the CapEx spending. It's going to be all about cloud spending. That's really the focus for the mags. Can they continue to kind of find that revenue in the cloud so that they can continue spending on that CapEx?
So I understand you've got a whole bunch of themes you want to talk about for the day. Let's start here because you mentioned these big names. What are your thoughts on these Mag 7s right now and heading into that earnings report? I know you mentioned cloud spending. Are there any specific, technical levels that you'll be looking at with these names in mind?
Yeah, I mean, you could be looking at Google right now. It's in kind of a nice flagging pattern, starting to come right back up. So that's a name that is going to be reporting, of course, when next week, right? So you just got to pop above from the 90 EMA. You got to break out towards the 380s. Look for quick pullbacks back towards 365s and 360s today to be an opportunity to run into that name, into the earnings. We'll see what happens. Of course, Google has been doing really great and just recently announced a solar objective, which I think is interesting for solar stocks in general, but I think this just shows me more and more Google is going to continue to spend that CapEx, and I don't think they're concerned about cloud revenue coming in.
Are there any other stocks or themes that you really want to highlight and make our traders aware of heading into today's session?
Yeah, there's a lot. I know that we focused here on Mag 7, but we can just quickly run through the areas. I'm going to just name the sectors and the industries, some names. We won't go through too much of the chart outlook, but let's quick it off, right? Consumer cyclical is an area that just started to kick off. You saw names like ANF, AEO, Urban, Booking, Airbnb, Nike, Macy's having a great day yesterday. This is a sector-wide rotationary push. So now you look to see these names continue. I know that we were just hearing a mention on Airbnb, so I think this is one of the best long-term charts right now to recover, get back above that 150, and if you clear that 150, you're looking great. So this is that area. Then we switch over. There's another theme that's been really doing well, which is cybersecurity. I've been talking about if you're looking at software, this is the software to be in. It's cybersecurity. Names like Okta, Crowd, PanW, SentinelOne, Zscaler as a turnaround trade, laggard catch-up trade to look at. You also have Datadog on the 275 break. It just seems like these cybersecurity names are the momentum names. So if you're looking for a trend trade, a lot of times when we go sideways in the market, we need to be seeing what is it actually holding a trend. Cybersecurity, without a doubt holding a trend. You can see that because they're holding 9 EMA pullbacks. Then, of course, you have financials looking good with these reports, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, JPM. So look to see if we finally start to see SoFi move before the earnings print. Of course, July 29th is going to come fast. Visa and MasterCard are two that I like in the credit services if you're looking for better quality. Then energy trend. Look to see what happens in the XLE. Can we go higher on the XLE today? I think that's one thing that we could play in. We just got a little pullback. So if you're noticing the market is down, the SPY is down, the Qs are down, energy could be your play for the day trade, right? And then just to keep the party going, healthcare is an area that I see rotationary for growth attempts. So if you're looking to look for growth and you're looking for beta, well, look to see healthcare names, drug manufacturers, Gilead, Merck, Bristol Myers, AbbVie, all names that I like right now, and that's where you need to be looking. Another thing that happened is we got Alliance Health scare yesterday, right? And then today you get UNH reporting, and that's ripping higher. What did it do? Alliance lowered the bar, UNH brought it right back up. So look for those names to go ahead and maybe see a nice little turnaround trade. There's so many trades, like always, I have for you guys on Trade the Pool. I give all these, I break down lists, I give down levels, and trust me, I can go on for days.
Thank you for going over those sectors for us, because of course, heading into earnings, there's going to be a lot to look at. Where can the people find you? And I guess, is there any updates here on Trade the Pool you want to make everybody aware of right now?
Yeah, Trade the Pool, of course, keeps expanding. We keep doing more and more, and I'm going to continue covering these trade ideas. That's one thing that I do best. Sector, industry, theme approach, right? We just started doing kind of our TikTok, so definitely check me out on TikTok. I'm going to be throwing up more theme conversations. So if you're that type of trader, you like to focus on themes, follow us on TikTok, of course, and you guys can check us out. TradeThePool.com is our tag, and you guys can see me giving you guys these themes daily and keeping you up with the rotation, because truly there's always a theme that's being uncovered. Like right now, solar is the watch, because Google just bought the biggest farm ever in US history. This is a tell sign of what's the move going forward for the next 3 years. It's solar and solar energy battery storage. So that's why I still like lithium, and I can give you names for days, guys. We'll just keep the party going. Enjoy the action today.
Thank you so much, Mitch Hoke, analyst over at Trade the Pool. Thanks again. Good luck on the session today, and see you soon.
Hey, see you soon.
Thank you, Mitch. And look, you're not gonna hear me hate on. He mentioned the banks. Already love XLF there for the break. We talked about that with Brian Shannon, and believe me, when we were talking about the trend for the cybersecurity names before Mitch came on, he wasn't hearing any of that. But it's just something that you've got to pay attention to for sure. And then of course he even mentions like AbbVie, which we just recently made a pick as well. But one of those that did stand out, because I heard him say Zscaler for a bottom pick. And if you looked at the charts we were showing you, the Palo Altos and the CrowdStrikes, like there's a lot of strength that you're already able to see. But these guys, if you want, we always talk about allow major moving averages to try to flatten out, allow bottoms to happen, allow it to put in some higher lows. So granted, this did fail the last 50 period breakout trade, if you want to call it that, because to me, you got 20%. If you took anything off and then had a stop under the 50, you wouldn't have lost on this. It's pulling the same move right now, is Zscaler. Obviously, you got to get through all of earnings season, but that's an interesting pick. Because I think it's always tempting to just be like, well, the safe play is to just ride the wave, buy dips in Palo Alto, and you're probably better off from a percentage standpoint, but that's already blasting higher, of course. So Zscaler, do like that one down there. For sure. I really only own Palo Alto and CrowdStrike, but it's piqued my interest, let's just say. We got to keep an eye. Because for the day trade, if Zscaler breaks 160, there's some good momentum. I don't know if there's a catalyst for it today, but that's the kind of thing you put on a scanner, and the day you get there is the day that you trade.
Yeah, big shout out to Mitch there today about the TSM. Yeah, I think the hardware situation definitely one to look at now instead of software and sort of the application side of what's happening in the chip space. Yeah, mentioning another name there with you talked about AbbVie there a little bit, J&J too, on a nice pullback, right? I mean, we called this name down, potential long down here, and we bought a little bit down there at 220, but it ripped up to 270 and a nice little pullback on their earnings. It feels like a lot of these earnings names, man, not seem to be working out. I mean, we saw UNH have a great quarter, and they're trying to blast higher. And I mean, I can't believe during all that controversy there how low UNH actually got years ago, and we all know sort of the stories, but he was not even back in March, April. This name was back down to 261. It's now added $200 on top of it right now. So that's a big move there for UNH gapping through. And what a good looking chart this actually looks like. Good structure developing there, good base again. I mean, it's only a couple days where we're getting those bases and then just a pop through. And maybe it looked like it was failing yesterday, but then today says hello there for UNH back up to the upside there. So like some of these plays moving forward, Oracle going lower right now. Yeah, not a good night here, or not a good night. Maybe it's good night for the stocks, but not a good start to the day. Thank you to everybody watching worldwide. It's nighttime somewhere where someone's watching us, that's for sure. Truth License, Truth Social here to license data to financial service companies. Okay, so let me guess, DJT is mooning? No, that was kind of a joke. I didn't expect it to be doing anything. DJT now underneath its value where it came was a SPAC. Remember, this was DWAC. It really got going. And now you're underneath that $10 again. What a nice run up, actually. What happened to this one? This was about 10 days upside there with one little problem in the middle. But yeah, there it goes. DJT nicely moving around there. But not on that kind of news, but nice spike there. Maybe we got some volume coming through here on DJT, just 200,000 shares. But yeah, nice little story for DJT. As far as the financials go, yesterday we had that story with PayPal, of course. Maybe could have asked Mitch about PayPal, actually. But yeah, nice move yesterday and a pullback into today. We'll wait to see if that $60 deal is approved and if it goes through there with a consortium there of Stripe and I think it was Advent or another piece of the pie there coming through to help finance that deal. So we'll wait to see if PayPal can hold some of these bids. So far, so good. Only down 1%. I mean, it's following the market here today to the downside. So yeah, man, it's going to be good. We're going to release a couple more picks today that we have moving forward. Hey, man, it's a good day to pick TSM maybe. Well,
you get your discount.
You get your discount down 4%. We'll probably put all, they're due on the 17th, so it's going to come tomorrow. So we can put them all in, all the prices in at whatever, maybe 3 p.m. or something on the 17th, and we'll get that all figured out. But at the end of the day, Oracle here, I was just looking at it's hitting down into 132 now, and you can see it was starting to go, now coming back in right into some of these lows from yesterday. Oracle, just another name, just keeps getting hit, but up today, which is kind of strange. I guess it's why it's crossing on the scanners here. Up today is Oracle. And then we didn't talk too much about oil yet, but USO, another move, up today as well. So some of the positive tracks today will be UNH, would be USO, there will be Oracle, and I'm sure there's some other names that are going to get to the high side.
There's a mover. I don't know if we mentioned this story maybe when I was up, or if it, maybe we did, maybe we didn't, probably not. But remember Twin V to merge with Greenland-focused miner USFM. They're up 23%. Well, it was up 23% when this article came out, but that's pretty useless now because it's up 48% and still going. So what is dead may not die? Ultimately, you got to say this for the stock. Despite the fact that yesterday seemed like it was just all selling and all death, it never broke underneath that day 2 support where it ramped up from $19 or so. So that's the thing. When in doubt, zoom out, because this gap up, it's got some room. The talk was $50. I'm not telling you anything that you can't visually see yourself, but it was a hefty rejection of the $50 level today. And that's exactly the kind of day that gets some shorts involved and really confident. So keep an eye on that 50 level. I know the small cap traders are going to be probably looking at this one. I can't imagine there wouldn't be people looking at V for the 4th day in a row. It's going to be in play. Roland Espinosa, thank you for the super chat. STDN IPOs today. Thoughts on the company? Standard Nuclear. So there's two. Well, there's 2 IPOs today because the larger of the 2 IPOs is C-Square, and these are both on the NYSE. That's $1.5 billion. Standard Nuclear is only $450 million notional. the IPO offer. So it's not huge. That's not in that size where we're like, yeah, all systems go kind of deal.
Why are they 4
When it's over
letters
$1
in
billion,
front
I
of
like
New
that
York?
better.
Yeah, hey, I hate that.
I did love it when it was easy to tell New York NASDAQ by the number of
now it's
letters.
like now everything 4 letters
It was
on
the
the New
smartest
York
thing
all of
they
a
ever
sudden.
did.
Again,
Like
what is
the
C-Square's
space,
business?
don't like the size
what is C-Square?
enough
CSQR.
for Standard Nuclear. So this is one that I'm not taking the opening print on this. I don't even think I'd take it on C-Square. Again, I mean, ultimately, these IPOs, you've got to be able to distinguish, and just to show you here, you've obviously got nothing going on. It's just going to show you the issue price at 15 on the tap. Like, there won't be imbalance data until sometime after the open usually, and then we'll be able to tell you, hey, the price is jumping up, the price is jumping down. It'll show up somewhere on our locator, and we'll be able to give you some information. There should be nothing yet, like just some early look imbalances and things like Nokia. But neither one of these is really piquing my interest. I like the power space in general, but 400 million is not that big, so it's not going to be super liquid for the opening print.
C-Square managing, I'm just reading it, operating and managing geographically diverse portfolio
Well, that's the other one.
of data centers and whatnot. So this is going to be the one here, digital infrastructure platform.
That's the better one. Yeah.
So this one, and I was just looking on here, there's nothing yet on the imbalance locator for either one of these names. So we'll have to wait to see once the market opens up and these orders start to come in for C-Square. But yeah, this would be, again, a little bit of a bigger offering there. I would say C-Square to me would be the better one, but you watch, that just means that standard nuclear would be one. And the reason why we don't like it really is the space is hot garbage, as someone put on the chat there, or we were just talking about it. Downside right there. Like, look what's happening right now to SMR. It's getting absolutely crushed. Now down below, and it's not going to be near all-time lows because this was a recent IPO. Of course, this is recently in the last 5 years. This is new scale. So yeah, downside action right there, breaking through $9. Down again is SMR. I mean, some of this space just not well right now. Oak Low as well, downside. There are a few different ETFs that you can look at here, but yeah. Mitch mentioned some lithium names as well. So, hey, Oklo right here at 44 might be worth something. But wow, what a mover. That was up to 190 at one point. We got another super chat. What? Yeah, every day, man. Thank you for coming through here. Sunny. I mean, the long-term portfolio, the number one holding in my long-term portfolio. Are you guys ready for this one? It's going to be a very, very, this is maybe a big, huge surprise to hopefully not many. If you've been watching, my number one holding is right here. It is the SPY. So we're number one holding is the market. I always been talking about that. Really like the market. And then honestly, watch the show, and thank you so much, Sunny. Thank you so much for joining us on TikTok. But yeah, names like, and we talk about it all the time, and we have a little contest going on now. We're picking names for the next 6 months. Some of those names, are going to be long-term holdings. A stock like J&J is one that we've recently picked up as well. We've added some QCOM to the space. And then honestly, a new name, then we talked about this yesterday with Neil and I, putting it into longer-term accounts or having longer-term ideas anyways. SpaceX would be a name here that's at 135. Potential name if you like the area, you like the spot. SpaceX could be one that eventually grows into something in the next coming years. Don't put all your money into these kind of names right now. And again, Neil and I, not financial advisors. We're talking about our own portfolios, and same thing with Joe, Adara, everybody on the show. We just giving you ideas that we see based on charts and what we're hearing and things like that, not advice tailored to what you're doing. But, as a 46-year-old father of 3, trying to get little bit conservative, which leads me to, a name like a Google that I think is something that you want to have in your portfolio. And then, big time names that I've bought. I've been investing my own money since 16, 17 years old. So I remember I told the story yesterday. This is why I was saying about, joining us every day, because we'll just give little stories every once in a while. But, one of the first shares of Apple I bought was when I first got the very first iPhone and thought that it was, something that was pretty unique. Hey, what? No keyboard? Like all this kind of stuff, and thought it was awesome. And, got a phone for my wife and myself and thought, I think it was $700 or something at that time. I was like, wow, this is pretty expensive, but everyone's getting them. So we're going to jump on that bandwagon. I switch back and forth between Apple and Android and all that. But this is another name that's a long-term hold I think, get a little conservative. And again, depending, and that's why I say my A.
Yeah, depending on your
idea
age, all that
is
kind
and
of stuff.
what you're talking about. There's lots of opportunities in there. So yeah, we will talk about our long-term portfolios. And the NASDAQ, the Q, which is by the Qs, SPY, bank stocks, ETFs, things like that, man. And, XBI has been a name that we've been in for a while as well. And, just watching out for some of these plays. When the value comes in, you want to try to take advantage of it. And if you're talking about long-term DCA, which is a term that we like to use here as well, dollar cost averaging, something that's very popular amongst long-term investors.
It helps you to get into something without knowing. If you like it for a really, really long period of time, relatively speaking, say like a SpaceX, but you don't you think it's being, you might think you could think it's overvalued. You could think the market's trying to figure out the pricing, like whatever it might be, or it could just be in a downtrend, but it's something that you want to have. Then I think DCA is kind of an easy way to get into it. But the other way to DCA, and then we'll throw it back up. It's actually 9 o'clock already, so when you get into the rundown, when thinking about like the SPY and the NASDAQ, one of the things I always believe in is like the regular, just when there's some extra money, it goes into the index every now and then. Whether that's quarterly, for me, that's always been like a bit of a staple. It's a little conservative that way, but I just like always being a buyer of the market.
I mean, if someone's going to say I look 10 years younger, I'll take it. Looks of a 35-year-old and wisdom of a 60-year-old. It's probably the other way around, but I do want to say thank you so much for that, as we have a lot of fun here back and forth, right? And again, thank you so much for that. And I think, wise advice there.
You got
investing any sort of free cash flow that you may have. Look, I also do think there's a point of sitting in cash too, right? I do think that part of the portfolio.
You can make money on that.
Yeah, or even just sitting, even if it's just in cash.
Or dry powder.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to buy names that are on dips, and that's where we got that with Mitch. There was talking about TSM, and he's fine with it. He didn't, I don't know about his position, but he had mentioned that this dip down are good buying opportunities in this space, right? So sometimes you got to think about what you want to do and not what others do. But at the same time, we have some great models that can answer these questions these days too, right? I mean, if you put in, this is part of the problem with Charles Schwab and some IBKR and some of these other stocks that have gone to the downside a little bit. It's because you can now just pick out Claude or your favorite large language model, sort of describe it. The more information you give it, it will help you sort of build a portfolio. Not that you want to take that ahead of professional advice, but it does give you a good starting point. I think that's for sure. Yes. Okay, good. At least finally we've got someone famous here.
We won't let your secret out there, Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, and if you do see some sort of a symbol floating around here, it means we're calling you. So. I like IBKR. We did have and the same thing with Robinhood and all that, right? I mean, some of these names like a Charles Schwab, IBKR, Robinhood and all that, even your name over there, CrowdStrike, got hit on all that software Armageddon, and boom, right there back up to the upside. So these are some of the worries that there are in the market, and that's why it's about picking your winners and losers. Exactly. Out of the space, right? And sticking with conviction, because, I mean, I was saying IBKR, and if you look at it, obviously it's going to be on, I just heard from Joe here, as I didn't call the stock up, that it's on a nice run. And this is the part that I'm talking about. Like, you get hit. If you like the business and you like some of the names, when moves happen, that's when, you want to get the claws out and try to make some money on these plays. But yeah, I like Charles Schwab. Has been a name for myself as well that we've looked at. And, this name got hit as well on some of that news, and still battling right back upside, So I remember when I was pumping the tires of Schwab for a while, and people were like, well, it got hit all the way down. Like, that's not a great pick, but there it goes right back up to the upside again. Paid some dividends with some of these names. Wow, it's 902.
It's already 9. By the way, USO just took the high of the day.
It's going.
So it's in the green, but barely, because we were gap down. The Nasdaq's trying to make a bit of a bounce, but there is something, as the market is attempting a bounce, worth noting here, you got gold losing the bid and down 2%. I only noticed that because I saw SLV's down 3.8%. I like the look of the short, but we're like 30 minutes from the open, and this is actually cratering down as oil goes higher. So might be one of those, be patient with the metals if you're looking to the downside, as they are losing the bid precipitously. Let's go up to the desk, talk about these futures, which are obviously lower overnight and not helping that oil's higher.
754 and 4/5, guys, is where we closed out yesterday on the SPY. So we're right below that 755 area we have been speaking about since the beginning of the week as resistance. We reject it yet again. We're below it right now, right at 752. So an easy one today, Dara. 750 is support, 755 is resistance.
What else is really easy to do is to sign up for our free Trader TV Live watch list. It is literally free. You will find the link here in the description, but you'll see the URL in your screen in a couple seconds. Now, what does this give you? This gives you info on stocks to watch, news that's happening, things that are going to be happening later in the session, any earnings or events to be aware of. All of that and more in this free watch list. Let's kick things off here with TSM, Taiwan Semi at the top of the watch list this morning, I believe, and certainly lots to discuss with this pretty strong across the board earnings report.
706 billion new Taiwanese dollars just as profit. Not even the top line, guys. We're talking about the bottom line. You can do your own conversion there. But they did firstly record their first revenue from their 2-nanometer shipments, which accounted for about 3% of their total wafer deliveries. That was a surprise. The market was looking for 1.5 to 2%. So good look. They're ahead of schedule with the latest 2-nanometer process, but that's going to hit their gross margins. As technology expands, so does spending on technology, and they're going to have to take a bit of a hit here from 67.7% down to 66% as they expand their fabs to be able to build out the 2-nanometer process, and their product mix has shifted markedly here. They were known a lot for the chips that they made for Apple and in their mobile business, but that's dwindled down now to about 22% of sales, declining 4% year over year. The bulwark of their revenue is now in high performance computing, which is about 66%. What else we got here? Non-operating activities, that's not a big deal. Last one is the $56 billion CapEx. So they're looking to spend that in 2026, and that's up a little bit. And then they didn't guide 27 and 28, but analysts are thinking it's going to be higher than scheduled there.
What are your guys' thoughts here on TSM today?
Look, I don't want to be overreacting to this. Most of the quarter was good. And again, you can get this little, the apprehension in the market and saying, oh, more spending, let's just get out of here. Let's take some profit. But like we said earlier today, it's losing the 50 period. Now, why I'm saying don't necessarily overreact, well, every single, the chart's not really telling you a lie here. This should be obvious, this teal. Every single time it has dipped under the 50 period moving average, it's basically held for like a week, maybe a couple of weeks, and then it's been a great buying opportunity after that. So you're asking yourself, is something going to be different here? None of that gets determined in one day. Right? So for one day, I just know that it could pop significantly, have proven nothing if it doesn't get over 420, and that provides some weakness for the chip. So I'm kind of expecting a little bit of a bounce to be able to fade some chip names. We're going to talk about DRAM next. There's no point in me getting into the memory chips in particular. We've already mentioned Intel. I think 103 is a good level for that one. Oh, here we go, David, with a TSM Super Chat.
Perfect.
Following TSM's bad CapEx increase, I love the air quotes, right? It's how the market decides to perceive it. Because we wouldn't be considering it bad if TSM was up 4%. We'd be talking about how it shows their confidence and this is where the future growth is going to be. And blah, blah. Like that's how it would be framed if the stock was up. So Netlist has sued Samsung, NVIDIA, and everyone. UITC might prohibit Samsung from selling its DRAM in the US. You might get some of these battles. I feel like that kind of a headline, fair enough, but the real weight right now just comes down to how much of this rotation is real. Like I think we're talking about where the money flow is going to continue. So we've had a couple of days of the chips being weak and cautious, and then a couple of days of the Mag 7 really showing some strength and some rotation in other places as well. Is this like a 1 or 2 day thing? Today will determine that. To me, if we hold underneath 420 for a couple of days after that, then I don't think that's a good sign for TSM. So that's where my litmus is going to be. And it can pop all the way into that level. And unless it's breaking out, I want to think bearish.
Yeah, look, for me, something very similar here. I mean, I only have shorts written down all day here today, right? And so if you want to look at the sticky note, I mean, I mentioned TSMC here on this note. If we just refresh this and open this back up, and we'll have a quick little look there. I mean, I wrote down Intel 102.50 to 103 or so short. You know, downside in the chip space, TSM, AMD, Marvell, ARM, DRAM for the full trade as well. The Roundhouse DRAM memory ETF. But yeah, you're just downside. Yesterday we did have a bigger trade in Intel. We tried to go long on Intel early, right into here when it came back into some of those levels of 105, I think is what I liked yesterday. Once it gave it up, man, we went short on this breakdown and had it into the lows, and we already broke $100 yesterday. And now today we're back above it. We did have a really good close yesterday on Intel, back up to 103. So that's the area it's just going to be an area short. Like, I don't want to get out of it until we break 103.50. So it'll have to be building a position on the upside. So if this can swing higher here a little bit on some good, strong TSM strength into the open, then we'll look to short Intel. So this is going to be a play for me there. And I also did mention Marvell on that tweet. That's come all the way down into $200 again. So this name is just like falling all over itself from 325. I mean, this could be a pick that you make as well moving forward. Just another name that's been beat up to the downside just because the valuation was a little bit stretched, right? I mean, it got that huge bump up right here on earnings, and then followed by earnings was also the talk of Jensen saying this is a $1,000 stock. So it still has 5x to go from here if he's going to be right about that. I don't know how Jensen is as a stock picker, but Marvell definitely likes the stack that they offer, and the market doesn't. So that's another play here to watch out for today. Breaking down below $200, good level of a $200 short. Okay, we got a couple super chats. What's up, what's up, Kai Key? Sent the 1 cent there from super chats from TikTok. Want to thank you that as well. Wow, the TikToks are coming in. Yo, what's up, Sonny? The same Sonny there. Oh, you got a little yell emoji there. Do you guys tend to stay away from individual stocks which aren't Mag 7? No, I mean, Sonny, you asked about the long term there, and I went over J&J. I went over a bunch of different names, including the SPY and everything like that, talking about names that are not Mag 7.
You heard me talk about Caterpillar. I love Caterpillar. Eli Lilly is like one of my biggest.
We talked about AbbVie. We talked about
recently. Well, one of the reasons for AbbVie is wanted to have two things, not just one. All in Eli Lilly when it comes to biopharma names. But then we've also talked cybersecurity, Palo Alto, CrowdStrike. Maybe you like some other ones you want to pick up off the bottom. No, I get it. We watch us do our polls, and a lot of the talk about what's moving the market is going to sometimes just revolve around the Mag 7, and almost everybody is going to be exposed to them in their accounts. So it can seem like that's mostly what's driven. But look at what we're going to be doing in the rundown today. I only see one Mag 7 name on that list, and it's not. None of the DRAM is in the Mag 7. We'll get to at least one Mag 7 name after that.
Yeah, let's talk about some of these DRAM names, because unfortunately the fall from grace for these names continues. SKHY, it's going to be its 5th session trading in the U.S. It's 4th full day trading in the U.S., and this name continues to get hit, dragging along the likes of SanDisk and Micron with it.
Yes, it does. And with the new listing comes new products. What am I talking about? I'm talking about leveraged ETFs and options, Joey. And on the 15th, we got SKHL, as well as it became optionable. And that's fine. That's on North American markets. But let's be realistic about this. This is a dual-listed stock, and sometimes the way the right hand trades is maybe how sometimes the left hand goes. So the Korean regulator over here, very, very annoyed by these single stock leveraged ETFs, so much so that they've stepped in with emergency measures to temporarily halt and severely restrict these single stock ETFs, specifically targeting, of course, the leveraged ones on the Kospi for Samsung and for SK Hynix. So what they've done is they've banned any new listing. So the Financial Services Commission of South Korea has temporarily suspended the launch of any new single stock leveraged ETF until, quote, market conditions stabilize. No explanation as to what that means. But they also tripled the financial entry barrier. So the minimum cash deposit now for retail investors to trade these high risk, what they're calling high risk ETFs, is going to be about $20,300 US, about 30 million yuan. Also, you're not going to be able to substitute any stocks that you own as collateral for that. So you're going to have the cash. So it's severely restricting it. Moreover, they're dampening order volume to discourage rapid retail trading. The minimum trading unit now has moved up from 1 share to 20 shares. So you got to have more money to do that. Last but not least, total marketing blackout now. Security firms and asset managers are now under a blanket ban prohibiting them from advertising or hosting promotional events for these single stock leverage ETFs. I'm not making the case, Adara, that these Korean listed ETFs are moving North American markets, but we often see correlation between the overnight session and today's session.
We might have another catalyst too that just came in on one of these names, specifically Micron, seeing that Micron has signed an auto memory deal with Qualcomm and also separately with Hyundai Mobis. So keep an eye, I guess, on QCOM here. Interesting look. Do you guys think these memory names are going to remember how to rally today?
Remember how to rally. Yeah, they should remember. It's
well, SK Hynix remembered how to rally for a few minutes yesterday at the open, and then it was able to rally pretty significantly in the afternoon, but this is pretty distinct. I would say if it does another one of these topping tails to look for a reversion, but I think playing it in DRAM is going to make a little bit of sense here. Just from I just like the technical sort of aspect of it. You already saw a floor here at 56.5 on DRAM and then a bit of a close above. So if it breaks into here, 55 into 56.5, I kind of wrote down the midpoint of that as like the go zone for a pop and fade in DRAM. We actually had to pay for locates here at Real Trading for DRAM, but they were like fractions of a cent. And SK Hynix, I think you're paying fractions of a cent for free locates on those. I think it's interesting that everyone's paying the Kospi so much attention. Like everybody knows that the index is so overweighted, yet we overreact to all of its moves. And there's zero surprise that it's volatile. There's zero surprise that traders are very skittish about this entire space, which used to be so incredibly cyclical. And when it's done what it's done, which has been absolutely spectacular, and everything seems so cheap because the valuations look great compared to the actual numbers. So everyone's like, oh, well, these things are cheap. SK Hynix trades at 4 times or 3.5 times, and Micron is pretty cheap too. But that's assuming that the ball doesn't drop. And if it does, we've seen these things come back pretty heavily. So volatility, the best volatility is here right now. And that just means to me the best reversions as well. So when SK Hynix, or if I should say we get that pop at the open, I want to look for those topping tails today.
Yeah, I feel like this DRAM is, they come up and, to Sharif's point about all these single stock futures and all these kind of things and levered ETFs, like remember that Lucid one? That's gone now, So yeah. I think there has to be some kind of, it's funny because Lucid rallied back up to $6 again, actually higher than where it was before that story of potential Chapter 11 or trying to finance a little bit there or get taken private. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different things happening with Lucid. But what about this name? I mean, it was just less than a month ago. This is June 22nd that we had this huge high of $81, and we were pumping, and everybody thought like this is the ETF to own, baby, and came to market back in April. $25, $26, $30, $40, $50, $80, all the way to the upside, and then it was just like whoosh right now to the downside. So definitely falling out of favor, right? I mean, I don't even know why, if you're investing, like why we're picking even Micron or SK Hynix or any of those names. They're all wrapped up into this one DRAM. And if you want to look at it, we'll as the show moves on, we'll talk about what's exactly in this thing with TSM obviously in it there today, down 6%. But yeah, this seems to be the spot where you'd like to dip by for any longs again once this sort of settles out. But we just mentioned Google coming late next week and some of these other names coming through, it's going to be tough to try to figure out what exactly the CapEx looks like for so many of these names. So for me, yeah, there's DRAM, there's the slide, and it is underneath the 50-period moving average. You don't have 200 days yet worth of data, so we don't have that 200-period moving average, but I'm pretty sure we don't have anchored VWAPs, but I would assume we're getting pretty close to something like that right around here. So we'll try to see if there's going to be some support around $48 again back on DRAM. But let us know, guys, in the chat here, we have the chat open. Let us know what you guys are looking at. What do you think about DRAM here today? Shout out to Blicky Spears is always here. No new positions. VEE, yeah, that might be good on that one. We can definitely have a look at that, which we will right off the open. That name's been halting for a while as well. Wannabe trader there talking about something, not Siri there. Loves the open, Rainmaker. Yeah, there's going to be lots of stuff happening there on the open. The one rule that I try to follow with off the open is be a little bit more patient, and we haven't been super patient with that lately. there as well. But one thing I do want to focus on just real quickly is this membership. And, you know, those of you out there that are looking for basically the best thing you can possibly get as far as a morning read. You know, the first story here, Iran. So if you're looking for USO, it talks about oil being resilient and, you know, technical levels and, you know, CENTCOM, like all these different things here about all the news. And then you got the breakdown of the technicals. Then you got some ideas on what you're trying to do. And then, hey, the mindset's down here as well. That's here for SK Hynix. So as Neil and I and everybody on the show looks at some of these headlines, it's also all broken down for you right here. This is 20 cents a day. You can go find it. There it is, right there. Yeah. Go ahead, grab the membership. It's $5 a month. It's called Sharif's Morning Note. We all use it. There's videos that Neil and I record. You see them live here all the time at 2 p.m. Those are going to be distributed through that as well. It's been, you know, a great opportunity for us to give more information to you guys. And that $5 just helps us with the distribution and everything like that. Literally 20 cents a day. Join the many members as part of that. And if you're part of the chat, make sure you hit the subscribe button, because often, you know, when the chat starts feeling it, someone will drop in there, you know, 5 memberships, 10 memberships, and we really appreciate that. Instead of super chats, that's actually a great idea, right? Share the wealth of the information. So if you're going to give a $10 super chat, maybe just give 2 memberships and someone can grab it and see what that's all about. So, you know, go get that right now for just 20 cents a day.
That's a great idea. Give to each other.
Man. And then you could just unsubscribe if you don't like it, honestly. Like, skip that iced coffee today. Grab the membership, $5 a month. Definitely something to help support it. I mean, we have
you don't have to skip the iced
13 plus employees or something here, so it's not like we're banking on that or anything. But you want to make sure that you make a subscription there. It's very cheap for a reason. Get it, look at it, have a look, and let us know what you think about it. That's for sure. And share the wealth with those morning notes. So, all right, 9:20 right now. NVIDIA in Japan. Okay, well, we know that they went over to China and didn't get much headway there. Let's go find out the story here with Japan.
Yeah, it's not just one story, Sean. It's so many stories. There are so many different headlines here with NVIDIA involving Japan. They've got some robotics-related catalysts here. That Vera Rubin AI factory they're going to be working on here with Noetra. Which angle do you want to take on this story?
There's so many, Adira. Shout out to Jensen, man. He's in Japan right now thanking the makers and owners of Sega. Who remembers Sega, right? They threw $5 million his way in '95 when his company was going to go bankrupt. And here he is, CEO of the most valuable company in the world, paying homage to them. Shout out to Jensen. The first one, though, I'm going to cover is the deal with Toyota. It's going to power Toyota's next-gen AI-defined vehicles. It's going to include computing, software, simulation technologies, big collaboration there. Also, we've been talking a lot about sovereign AI. Japan, no slouch. They're looking to throw their hat into that ring as well. They're going to buy about 27,500 next-gen Rubin AI chips for their new government-backed AI venture. It's called Noetra, I think that's how you pronounce it. They're going to build domestic AI infrastructure, reduce, I should say, reliance on foreign tech. So many angles here and there.
You guys looking at NVDA and its peers today?
Okay, like I have other ideas, and most of them, they're all to the short side, whether it's silver or SpaceX or, as we're just talking about, DRAM. But NVIDIA, if there's one that would be a bounce play, I think NVIDIA looks the most interesting. Oh, the charts behind it. I was wondering what that was. It's above the 50. It got relatively cheap compared to some of the other Mag 7s. I know it's already bounced since that value buy aspect of it. The problem with why it was on the list is it's not breaking out. It's not all that close to support, which to me is more of a range. And then when it breaks the trend, just join. So like it's a range of 2 to 6, which is a couple of percentage points. It's a wide range. So this dips at the open, like you're really having to be patient and sit this one out. But I feel better about buying the dip here than I do in a lot of the other chip names, because while everything else was going crazy, NVIDIA was really just going sideways and consolidating and turning itself into a little bit more of a value, which does kind of protect the downside more so than a lot of the other names that you've seen pull back in the last couple of days. So you feel a little bit better about the bid coming in. But when you're diddling in the middle like this, it is a bit of a pass at the open because it's not near anything key enough for me yet. But if we do get hopefully we get that nice move to the downside, we get some pop and fade trades, and then in the middle of the day, this would be one to start to look for that reversal.
I mean, I still like NVIDIA, but it's another one of those names where it's just like it's not really doing, it's doing something over the last week or so. But going back, we did have a couple spikes through. Every single spike that you see on here is basically earnings, and then the comeback right back in. I mean, this had a nice run off the bottom from April. I mean, many stocks went absolutely nuts from April to May into June, and then falling back in. The good thing about NVIDIA, the story that I like here is that the structure is really looking good on NVIDIA, honestly. I mean, I do think that the next wave here is higher for NVDA, holding out on the 200, holding out on the 50, trying to break through 220 now. I like the story, obviously being down 1%. I think if there is going to be a name that will try to dip buy in today, probably will be in this NVIDIA. And I kind of like this 208.50 area that we made in the pre-market. Let's see if we are able to wind up holding it. And like I said about AMD, I think, just going back and forth between the two, like this name was down huge yesterday off the open, like just absolutely from 560. Like it was at all-time highs yesterday again, AMD, by the way. And then it came down in just $55, like just straight down, and then all of a sudden catches a bid at 1230. So, the idea here behind all of these names is just momentum, right? When it gets going, it gets going. Once it starts to find its base footing again, this is a 50-period moving average, right? We broke it. We started to turn back up to the upside. So maybe wait until we see some sort of a turn here. And right there, you see you're starting to turn upside now. So this is why I'm thinking that maybe we could catch a bid here off the open. Many of these names starting to get some momentum now. So we can wait to see if AMD does make its way back up into somewhere where we closed around yesterday. It's not unbelievable to think that that's going to happen, man. I mean, it's only $10 from here, and I know that might sound a lot, but this has the juice. And like we said, yesterday down 60, only to battle back 30 of it, or I guess 25 of it, and then now to give it all the way back into the downside again, around $500. Let's wait to see. That's a breaking spot there for AMD. So this one I'm a little nervous about and wouldn't mind getting out ahead of earnings for advanced micro devices as well, especially if we get that bump. But there's that 560 that I was saying yesterday. I mean, I guess the high is 580, but you were right there yesterday, and then you had that move down. So, hey, a couple good days in the space, and AMD's right back up, but definitely a name that I'm looking to trim in. Guess what, Sonny? The long-term portfolio. All right, it's 9:24. We've almost got imbalances for the morning, but let's go back and find out hey, here we go, Sonny, another non-Mag 7 name in United Health.
And a good one.
This is quite a beat here for UNH for Q2 2026 for both EPS and sales. Stronger than expected guidance as well, raising its EPS guidance for the fiscal year.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, beating EPS by an entire $1.48, almost a $1.50 beat there on EPS, $6.38 ahead of the $4.90 expected, and a monster top line, $112 billion in revenue. Let's talk about that top line there, because it's interesting. Their customer base fell to 48.5 million users. That's well below the 51 million that was expected by the street. So how'd they make money? Well, here's how they made money. They weren't expanding their coverage. They were actually shedding coverage. If you didn't make the money because you were charging too much, or you just went to the doctor too often, or have too many prescription drugs, yours was cut. Both commercial memberships and Medicaid memberships were on the chopping block here. So reducing memberships by over 2 million. Let's call them customers. Let's call them clients. I wonder why people have strong feelings about this company.
Yeah, UNH here, healthy move to the upside anyway right now. You guys watching this one?
Yeah, look, they always say don't turn a swing into a long-term trade. It's like, you shouldn't, but kind of wish you had sometimes. But so good for UNH. Now the gap is almost filled. No, it's filled in one big, massive gap here on the daily chart, and maybe it'll set sights at the second one. But if you saw what happened like the 2 weeks before earnings, see all that chop, that's going to give you a great base to prove itself. Right, like all of that chop in the 30s, 420 into 435 or so, gives you the base, so you can fall back into that. As long as it supports it, the next leg looks up, like the space, not in it anymore. For the day trade, spread's too big, so won't be touching it. So I think you give it the 3-day rule. But it really does feel this is now another upcycle, which can happen for UNH. 8 points today. I could see some consolidative action with it for a little bit, but yeah, all systems go. There were 925, some imbalances hit, not much. Nokia, 800,000 to the sell side. iBit, 200,000 sell side. We'll get some NASDAQ ones. Well, actually, I saw a spike in SpaceX, but I didn't see an imbalance on it there. PayPal with a small sell, ASTS with a small buy. So nothing too crazy right now with the imbalances.
Yeah, no, we'll look at, you just looked at the imbalances, but
Nothing.
I was going to say Oscar reported back on July the 6th, and gave us a good number as well. There's a nice little bump up there for Oscar. And you can see this is a name, I just checked the account. We're up over 100%, which my stream deck's not working there, on Oscar. And this is a name that, again, we can go back. We've, see, if mine's not working, everybody else's are, so that's good. Shout out to Joe. But yeah, no, look, I mean, this has been another one of those names that I just really liked it and came into some of these levels. And there it is, man. I just checked the things like 101% or so on Oscar. And I don't have any plans of selling this one. So there's another name that sort of started to blast up there. This is, again, in the long-term portfolio, a relatively new name in this space. Oscar Health just continues to go higher as on the back of UNH, I guess. On UNH, good earnings. We'll see it up another 2% today for OSCR. Let's see if it winds up taking out some of those highs. And, look, I was buying it here, so it fell back in. It's, it's not like we're, just picked it up there and it ripped up. Like, this is a name that we've had to hold for a while. I can go back and show, if I only knew how, which I don't know exactly the website, but you can search your X account. We could pull up when we talked about Oscar, but it's been probably a year or so. So it's definitely a roller coaster ride, but nice to see it near the top and maybe potential trim spot now that we're up this high based on UNH earnings, but who knows? All right, the next name here, SpaceX. One name that I think ever since, as long as I'm sitting here, I feel like I've traded SpaceX every single day. So today won't be another one of those days that we do not trade it, as we talk in negative terms here. We will be trading SpaceX today. Let's go back over to the desk, find out the story, and we'll tell you some key levels.
Yeah, we'll be brief here. The bell's approaching, but SPCX broke that IPO price of 135 yesterday. Absolutely on watch.
Yeah, it is. Today they possibly have a test flight for Starship. This is super important, obviously, for them. It's not just about going to Mars with Starship. We know what they're going to use it for, launching more low Earth orbit satellites for Starlink, cellular networks, internet. So that comes tonight. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, best of luck to everyone as we approach that bell. SpaceX, guys.
Yeah, I'm looking pop and fade 137 and 139. Until you get above 139, 140, then that liquidity grab under 135, I'm not really believing in it as a liquidity grab. Still thinking the downward trend. And, I got my DCA. I own 20% of what I will in the long-term account after yesterday because I got hit. But I'm not buying anything till after earnings, which are August 6th.
Yes.
I want to say we're discussing it.
Yes. I sat there very selfishly and bought some 135s yesterday because I like the 135 tag, and I want to say I'm in at that IPO price, and I'll probably regret doing that. I do think SpaceX goes lower from here. We do want to thank VinFast for sponsoring the opening bell one more time. Go check them out, VinFast symbol VFS over there. And again, another great EV name that you can go check out in your own time there, VFS. So, all right, man, we wrote down a couple ideas today. SpaceX short 136, Q's short, Q's with a nice move up there. We could definitely look at that. iBit short as well. That might be going upside right now. And then Intel with the short. So right now we sit here, we wait for SpaceX, we'll wait to see what winds up happening. I don't want to take a trade. I mean, we could have got that 136. It would be about $1 in now. Let's give this market just a little bit of time. Most of the negative trades that I put on seem to happen in the first 5 minutes. So, yeah, things popping up now. Maybe it's time to short. Am I going to get involved again early for some reason?
No. SLV looks like it just pulled back into the upside. You've got DRAM as well, which is popping. That'll look just fine. Popped up to 54.5. So trying to close in the gap. I mean, the first place to look for me was the prior day low. So we're in a pretty distinct uptrend now. Like it's not really a V shape, but it's a pretty distinct uptrend. So we'll have to be a little bit patient with it. Because if you're looking to fade, this has been a pretty decent push to the upside already off of the open. And it's with USO and oil coming back in. So you're getting oil pressure. Pressure on oil was alleviating coming back to the downside, which is helping the markets get back up. Not at 55 yet on DRAM. Still not at the entry point for SLV for me either. Although SpaceX is $1 away. So that one, like, they're all close to resistance, but not there just yet. So if you're thinking that pop and fade, I'm not going to be in anything. I have no orders out even either. Oh, and by the way, one more for you. Remember Twin V? Twin V is in the news today. There's a merger with Twin V. That's breaking out on significant volume here off the open. It hasn't actually broken that top yet. Remember, the $50 level, big one.
Yeah, exactly. SpaceX up there now breaking through 136. So it's a good thing that we didn't take that fill there. So here it comes, just ripping right there to the upside. And our good friend, and by that I mean not really good friend, I still think it's Adara's mic there, Andre. That's live. And I'm hearing echoes. So there it is. It's gone. Hey, I was right for once there. Okay, so watch out now. 101.50, 102 going to the downside again. So we'll have to wait to see if there's a fill coming on Intel, trying to break now back below that level. So I don't know. I didn't want to go short right away, but this is a pretty easy short to take if it does wind up breaking. I mean, that's yesterday's and the pre-market low of 99.25. So that's coming in like quite nicely right now. And we took our opportunity to wait a few minutes, and now I'm getting FOMO. It's only 2 minutes in, and I'm already like, hey man, we liked the short in the market there, and it came right up into VWAP and decided not to take it. I think maybe there's a couple different strategies. You could either use less shares, maybe right off the open and still take the trade and give it a little bit more room, or do what I'm trying to do now and trying to be patient with any of these trades. So Intel breaking, I think we will try that on a breakthrough 99.25. So let's go 99.24. We'll give it a little bit of room there if it does make that move back in, and we can always get out if it breaks back above.
LOD?
Yeah, big time LOD. If it can break back below that $100 mark and maybe even get a short at the 200 period. Nice move back upside right there for Intel. Here it comes back up into 102. Maybe that's a good short as well. NASDAQ just doing its own thing right here, only down 0.7 right now off of a nice move higher, but maybe Intel trying to catch a bid. Is that on the back of NVIDIA? By any chance, a little bit there. And then TSM today, of course, with their earnings report, helping the market go to the downside. And that was down 4%, and now that's back up there again. So did Marvell, I guess, bounced off 200?
It doesn't break 420.
Really, that's still down 400 bucks, down 4% as well there, Marvell. So yeah, I guess it's getting time to get into some of these trades as the market's trying to settle down a bit.
Yeah, the first one for me is going to be almost the same thing as yesterday. I don't think I had anything earlier than SLV, and it's basically the same thing. It doesn't press into the high, but it trends up and breaks the trend right at the volume weighted average price. So again, that's like 2 days in a row. That'll be the first trade for myself. And looking low of the day here, it didn't really do anything too crazy. Well, here's the open. Like, it actually was strong yesterday, and then bounced up. Then it was consolidated. It fell apart at about 11 o'clock. So it was very gentle to the downside, and the big move down was actually at 11. But we're going to look for this fade, and the market's starting to come back in, so I think that makes a little bit of sense. You're going to have gold also. Gold's going to do the same thing. It's just not going to move as much. GLD's not going to move as much as SLV percentage-wise, but that popped up, losing VWAP as well. So that's the first one. Now we're looking at some DRAM to see if we can maybe get into that one. Was supposed to be 55 to 56. It's nowhere even close yet. All right, so I'm not going to force my way into DRAM just yet, but at least we're in SLV.
Yeah, there's lots of things pulling back right now. I mean, it's not even that great of a morning here, as many of these names started to get going, and we thought maybe there was a bid coming soon. But right here, man, I mean, Apple right back into yesterday's closing prices again, off of a dip down, right? I mean, we got to 329 today, new all-time highs for Apple, by the way. As we celebrate, that was 328.73 past highs, now up to 329 and change. So maybe a dip down opportunity here for Apple in and around this 327 spot. So I'm going to do that. We are waiting for Intel's going to come in as well. So let's go let's just go 327. Maybe we got to wait for the. Maybe we got to wait a little bit here. This market is getting worse. There goes 327 breaking. Possible level here on Apple for sure. I don't want to regret not taking that. Maybe we just go lighter. Intel. All right, let's take it on Apple. We'll just get my first position, heels and silver, right there with Apple. So we just buy that dip. Oops, sorry. Here it is. We just buy that dip there. Okay. Well, now we. Okay, we'll buy that dip in Apple and ride it to the high side right now. Just get out. Okay, there we go. So now we're out of 30% already. Like, this is the thing, man. Forget about second guessing yourself. It's just like, if the trade is setting up and you have the experience, you have those instincts, sometimes it's worth taking it. But I don't know, still not overly confident in this being a trade all day. So we're already out, like I just said, of 30%. I just put another offer right there at 328. NASDAQ now down 1%. Apple, I like it because it's strong. It's been strong. It's at all-time highs, and it's still green on a day that looks like this. So
won the poll yesterday, remember?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The winning of the poll. Remember, we've already sort of said that we want to try to fade the answers on that poll because
I think it's right.
As you admit, I think it's right too, but it was horribly wrong when you asked it down here. Everyone hated Apple. See, this is the problem with investing, and it's not a problem. This is part of investing. Oh, hey, Rob, thank you so much. Is that when the momentum is downside, all we can really think about are negatives. And then when the momentum is upside, you know, we immediately are thinking like, oh, wow, this stock is the one. That's why people get FOMO, right? Like, how many of you bought Ethereum up there? How many of you bought Bitcoin up there, right? And it's just like, when it's going, you're saying, oh my God, there's so much more. But then it's like, really? So right there, we get another out there at 328. So let's go, man. A couple good plays there for us. We still got 60% of Apple. Let's see what winds up happening. But out of 40 right now, we'll see if Apple can fly a little higher on positivity here in the NASDAQ. That's the one thing that's going to have to help this stock go.
Yeah, there's some strength in crypto. You just mentioned crypto. Some strength in IBIT I want to get to, but just a quick highlight. I've taken half out into the half dollar as there's been a pretty decent buyer in here. I'm going to go for the reloads. We've been doing this every day. As long as it holds the original top, sort of reload it over and over again. DRAM's still looking strong, so I don't want to fight that. I feel like that's a little bit too strong. It's in NVIDIA that looks like it's the dog right now. So NVIDIA with the big hammer, well,
oh, no,
that's
really?
an engulfing candle is what I should be calling it. It's an engulfing candle. And if it makes the next gap down, it was at 206 that was a low yesterday. So still just one trade for me. Disneyland royalties asking about what's going on with Marvel.
Probably bad thing.
No, I haven't looked at it yet, but I mean, NVIDIA was at the low, the markets are at the low, Marvel's at the low, ARM's probably at the low. Insert growthy chip space name, and they're all at the low. So I don't know that you can say specifically, oh, what's going on with this? Well, the same thing that's happening across the board, unfortunately, right? Which is when they go up like this, sorry, I know I have ARM up, but I can show you Marvel, it's the same thing. When they go up like this, sometimes you will get some rapid pullbacks. So they're just repricing, man. Like this stock was $140 in April. You know, like let's be real. And I could say the same thing about ARM too. Like it's just, they got so far almost too fast. And you always wish you took off more so you could reload. And but I didn't. I sold like 20%, just like Frank Lucas said. So SLV basically the same spot that it was before, and DRAM is finally starting to look like we could be breaking its trend. So here's DRAM. I'll throw that little trend line up here. This looks like more of a convincing break, so I'll take my first shot. Joe seemed to like the Frank Lucas reference.
Yeah, you've been. I don't know if you watched that movie lately. You've been on that lately.
There was a viewer in the chat.
Oh, was there? Okay, you mentioned it. Yes.
Frank Lucas. That's why I brought it.
Right. Okay. Good. Yeah, that's awesome.
Great movie.
All right. So Intel's still trying to hold those bids. A couple more outs there on Apple. We have half now. We have 50% left. Let's let it go. We'll take another bid at 327 if that does hit. All right. What's halting today? What about NVVE? This is a name that we were trading not trading, but a couple halts into there. Now NVV only 300,000, so nothing going on there really. B-Core just halted, so that's nothing. Ruby halted, so this is another one of those names. 17 million shares. This could be one to watch today. RUBI, right now the halter right there. So if you guys are trading small cap names, Ruby halted. Again, halted at open, halted within the next 5 minutes, and here we go. It's Ruby. We're now 70 cents in the money over there on Apple. And just to go back over to, like, I trade mainly mega cap names. Google, watch out for 370. We'll see if that winds up holding because it's not doing well against this move up right now on the NASDAQ. So it's actually coming back in. So maybe Google, I think it was upgraded today or something. Decent upgrade today for Google, I believe. And then yesterday we had the Warren Buffett bounce as he was talking about how he likes the stock. And it wasn't his team that picked it. He actually put Google in the portfolio. And he also talked about how he wasn't worried about the capital raise or anything like that from Google. So yesterday we get a nice little upside move there. As there goes Apple right now. It's clubbing right now. Apple, nice move through 328. We'll wait to see if there's any sort of a pullback in on that one. Getting longer again if it does pull back into 328. But there it is right now, officially your Dollar Club winner there. Eli Lilly dancing to the downside. Got to 1144. Now that's trying to go back up. Flat on the day on Eli Lilly.
I forgot to mention, that's a standard procedure when a good company makes acquisition, look to buy the dip. But usually I like that around 10:30 or 11 o'clock. And Eli Lilly made the acquisition of ATAI, psychedelic name. That's all, but these charts look so good.
Here comes
Eli Lilly back to the 50 period.
Yeah, man, I like this.
Add V back to the 50 period. J&J back to the 50 period.
Yeah, Eli Lilly was one of the picks for me last quarter. I know my guy Joe over here kept the same 3. Maybe we will keep Eli Lilly as well. Here comes Intel. I'm going short 99.25. That is that low break right there. And we'll just wait to see what winds up happening. It's yesterday's low at noon. It's coming in right now. We should be able to execute a short right now on Intel if and when that breaks. And there it is. There's the break right now. So we are now short. And by the way, more outs coming on our friend Apple. We got a great bunch of outs there at, well, guess what level, man? The 200 period moving average right there at 328.28. So yeah, man, giddy up on that one. All right, well, we're into Intel. Light 1 unit only here to start with. It's 942. When you break some of those lows, sometimes it's just risky. You could get that bounce back. It doesn't look like that's happening right now for Intel. So let me bid out. Little bit of size there at 99, but Intel's got 99 problems, and right now stock price is one of them. But we just bounced there off 99, and look at that, move back up there on Intel. So we do take a piece there at 99, and now it bounces right back to where we're short again at this level. So a nice bounce there. That's that fake and break and all that kind of nonsense that we were talking about before. Sometimes you do get a little bit of a springboard action there as people try to buy the stock back up and defend key levels like that. So we'll wait to see here if it does happen. Maybe I'll put,
speaking of defend.
Yeah, maybe I'll put one more level down here, and then we'll go over to Neil. One more at 99 to get out, and then we'll let it break through. But yeah, what you got over there?
SK Hynix is trying to defend its low of the day. Here, I got to remember to keep zooming it in so you guys can see this better. I don't know why this candle is gapping. It didn't really do that. Trying to defend that low of the day. If it does bounce, got to remember when you're trading something, look under the hood. When it made the bounce the first time, I bid enter on DRAM, but because you're at that low and it looks like it's bouncing, might want to look to cover this one, at least for the time being. I'll hold on to SLV, but if SK Hynix holds the level, I think DRAM is going to bounce right back into that VWAP. Ooh, I didn't get that next fill. So I'm going to sneak into probably like the mid-30s for the next fill on SLV. Everything is still trend down, so there's nothing that's really setting up to enter into a short that I'm seeing unless we get some pop. So it's more like, where are you getting out next? Where are you going to try to reload if you get it? The NASDAQ is taking out low of the day. We already showed you what's going on with DRAM. One thing that's standing out, and this is a bit new for SpaceX. When was the last time you heard us say SpaceX is looking relatively strong? It's a rhetorical question.
Because
we've never said it.
We've
never said it. And SpaceX right now is.
Well, how about day 2?
Was it on day 2?
Yeah, day 2.
Yeah, maybe it was. It's been a month. I'm sure there's been.
Day 2 went from 164 to 225. Yeah.
Day 3 was that day that it took out all of the market caps. Day 2 and day 3 it was really good, and then after that.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just joking around. I know it's had some strong days. I was just being a.
And today it's holding that 136 that we actually liked as a short. So maybe there is something there. And of course, 136 being VWAP. So we'll have to wait to see what's up with that. Okay, man. Intel breaks again back down through 99 and then holds. So one more bid for me at 99.03. We've just been getting out. There we go. I'm now out of 30% of this name. Let's see if Intel wants to rock again below $99, man. I mean, we're going 2 for 2. We got $1 right now in Apple. I don't know what else we're supposed to do. I mean, we talked about this bid that we liked that bid down there. So we take Apple, and now we watch to see this one. Yes, go Apple. Another big move higher there for AAPL. We'll take $1 on that one, and then we'll watch out for Intel. Trying to break. Okay, here we go. I'll take a piece here at 94. Oh, that's me. Yes. Okay, good. Got a 94 bid there as we're starting to get to the downside. Daily goal almost there, but it's Intel that's giving me the creeps here because it tries to break and then doesn't, and it gets right back up to the upside. Considering where the NASDAQ is right now at these lows, the only mistaken trade for me today was literally telling you guys I'm sitting on my hands, even though I love the short in the NASDAQ. It hits VWAP and then collapses all over itself. Come on, Intel, man. Stop dancing around 99. Honestly, you're starting to bug me. I'm going to bid another piece out there at O's only because starting to get that feeling like it doesn't want to go any lower than where we are right now. I'm still bidding 75, and then after that, unfortunately, we'll have half left. If we get to 75, Phil, we'll only have half left there on Intel. It seems like there's a bid here underneath, but you know what, man? I
don't know if the market's got a bid.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't know if the market's got a bid either, but right now we are $1.50 though in the money on this long, and there it goes, $1.50. How about more? We want more. How about $2? right now on Apple. As there goes Apple. Now it's $2 in the money, man. Never come at the king again. Apple right there. Boom to the upside there. Turnus says, hey, give me the keys, man. This Ferrari is about to go. And there goes Apple. Huge move to the upside. Welcome to the party. For joining us for the first time, we do this every day. And there goes Apple. Wow, $2.20. Oh boy, right there. This is a big one there for Apple. We did it again, Brittany. We did it again. And this time we're not sorry about it. It's going to the upside right there. $2.50 in the money for Apple. It's a big one. Let's just wait to see what winds up happening. Considering the market's cranking near the lows, Apple goes. Let's go.
Let's go. And the market is cranking to the lows, but it just tagged the low. I told you we're going to go VWAP to the low of the day on DRAM, take the point and run. We'll take our percentage. That's what we wanted out of it. SLV, same thing, but it's not there yet. I think yet's the key word. We're still trending back down in. This might be the one that we get the reload in first. So it's trying to bounce off that low. If we can get back into VWAP, then it's all systems go to take the second trade. Oh, there was a fourth name that I put on the list, but Astis didn't really get anywhere close to the levels that I want. ASTS, sorry. Sometimes we just call it that because it's the ticker. ASTS didn't really get anywhere close to the short level, so never traded it. But so far, 2 for 2. But looking for that third trade, I still think SpaceX can be a fade, but it's really holding out above this prior resistance at 136.5. So until it shows weakness at this price, there's no point fighting it. So I'm not going to. We're not going to try fighting the stock. If the shorts are working, you hold them or find the ones that are relatively weak and just stick with that for sure. So yeah, so far so good. One other name I'm going to get back to. Got to be able to cover everything for you guys. That Twin V, I wish I could tell you that it broke the $40 level, more or less exactly where it was before. It is basically telling you that 40 is a brick wall for the last 24 hours. Like, look what it did at the opening range yesterday. Look what it's doing here. Pretty safe guess that's what the short sellers are afraid of, is 40 breaking. So good luck to anyone that happens to be in that. That's the small capper that seems like it's popping off volume. It just won't break out.
I mean, there's Intel's collapsing now, and this is exactly what we sort of wanted to see happen here, and we wrote it down on the note today. And there it was right there, Intel short. It doesn't pop, so we had to wait for the low to break. And there it goes to the downside. DRAM, Neil's already in that and in and out, which is good. And then we're just going to hold on to Intel as now it's breaking a lot lower here. And there it is, man. It is our daily goal made right there. So we will fire off the hot dog cannon as we go upside on Apple, downside on Intel. And hey, guys, guess what, man? Intel is almost again clubbing with us. So we'll see if that winds up happening here. We'll get another 10% out if we do get to 98.25 there and make that dollar. But it's not about the, like, I don't wait for a dollar every time. It has nothing to do with it because some stocks are $300 and some stocks are $98. And whether or not you make 5 cents on a Lucid trade, that's only $5 or whatever you do. It's just about trying to make sure that you're playing the momentum, get your trading strategy down, hit it, and then, as they say, sometimes quit it. And that's basically what we've done here with Apple. We only have 5% left of this Apple trade, right? And so when we got right there, that was a much bigger out for me than up here. That was just like, hey man, we were mooning, so we had to take something out. But right into here, the pre-market high, right? Neil and I, not only do we put out these videos, I'm actually trying to practice as we preach. And so, some of these levels that come through, like that's that low that we waited for. We waited for it to happen. And we said yesterday that we want to give things probably like 5 minutes. And that was exactly 5 minutes there, based out at 327. That came into yesterday's close. We took it, ripped it to the high side, got a lot out there at VWAP, got more out at the 200 period moving average, got some out at the pre-market high. And then there it goes back upside right now. And, Intel's trying to go back up again here today, right now. I see my good friend One over there. So we missed him for the last couple of days. So we say welcome back to One. So we will have some European updates today. He just gave the salute to everybody. We will have, yeah, he's good, man. And we will have the European and Asian updates from One today. So we're glad to have him back in the building, and we're just glad to be here trading live with all of you every single day. Is $3 a bottle?
Someone put a charge in Sky SKHY.
Good,
or
man.
SK Hynix just now. So watch out. Like, this is starting to come back into the upside. I know I mentioned I got out of DRAM. Again, it was just low of the day. It ends up turning on the next candle. So even if I wasn't looking LOD, that candle gets me out 10 times out of 10 when you see that kind of a pop into the upside. And simultaneously, Oh, you know what? We got a super chat. My bad. Thomas Kondo. All I was going to say is simultaneously, if SpaceX is losing VWAP, is 3 the bottom for BBAI? I'll let you handle that. I haven't looked at that one. I think we did last week, maybe.
If this name is just like, it's getting crushed. I mean, we talked about this when I was at the 200 period moving average, right? I still have my position at $4, $4.20. I didn't get anything out when it ripped up to there, but no, I would say it's going lower. I mean, it's breaking right now that low. So yeah, Big Bear AI, just not one of those names right here that we're overly excited about anymore. And I don't, you've been buying some of those dips into here into $3. It's not, when you're seeing names like ARM and like all these other names just that are really high quality names, at least I associate them with high quality, that have just been getting absolutely crushed. This is down $200 from its high, right? ARM is down 50% or so from its highs. And then so you're looking at a Big Bear AI, it's something very similar. You're looking at a Marvell, and I'm not trying to equate all these names. It's the space, right? It's not getting a lot of love, these high flying names. So Marvell had a huge bid under it, got way ahead of its skis. I don't know if ARM did or not, but that was 450. Big Bear AI, I think they returned EPS positive last quarter, or maybe they didn't. That could have been the problem. But yeah, Big Bear AI just not doing it for me. If anything, I would take some money from there and put it into Palantir. I think Palantir has a much bigger moat around it and an opportunity to go. I mean, remember, Big Bear AI was part of the World Cup and all that, and sensors and security and everything like that, and border control and just different language models, and they got a government contract, and they haven't really been able to go. But Palantir, I think, is a little bit of a bet. I mean, not a little bit, but much better name. Definitely a profit center. These guys are making so much money, it's crazy. But again, like, people aren't paying up for that right now, and you got to wait for names like Big Bear AI.
I think that's an opportunity. I was saying the other day about Palantir, or maybe it was about.
There goes Apple.
I think it was Palantir. Just plot a chart of Palantir's price, plot a chart of Palantir's revenues. And they used to move together, and now you're getting an opportunity where the revenues are still going up and the price has been going down. And that's the first time that's happened since it's been around.
Very good, Joe.
And so that's one thing you got to be able to consider.
Your Apple is nuts comment.
Apple, of course it is nuts.
I just heard Joe say Apple is nuts, and it's like, yeah, man.
It's not a jinx, by the way.
We went long at 320 the other day. We went long again today.
Like,
it's like, play the strong names, man. I don't really know what else to tell everybody. We play the weak name with Intel. That worked out for us again, and it really rinsed back in. We just took another fill there at 80s. It's starting to go against a little bit here. I still don't mind getting some more short into Intel. Again, I do have a quarter left of this trade, so it looks like it's trying to blow back upside here. So maybe we wind up getting out of Intel, especially if it breaks 99.50. So I think that's that little level right there that we don't really necessarily want to be in with it anymore. So we will put our stop in at 99.51 because that is our 25 period moving average. So we'll get out if it breaks above that. We'll put that trigger in and get out if that does happen. And we'll play a little bit of a pullback here. We'll bid some. Oh, that was me that bid 99s there, by the way. Created a new level. There it is. Okay, good. We got out on the way back in. So there it is. All right, then we take an 80s. So hopefully this can fall back in a little bit. Again, less than 5% left actually we have 4% left, 5% left of Apple, rough math there. As that comes back up, we take another piece. Again, we don't have the full boat there, which we still did. And it's Intel right now that's starting to get back downside. And again, we talked about how many shares we had there. Right now, I have 15% left of Intel. Let's see if we can get back into the lows. I saw you there on the chat there, Scott, talking about you have no idea why I don't have the TQQ short. Look, it's the number one trade that I have written on here. I have SpaceX and I have TQs as the two top trades along with Intel short. Then I have IBIT short. We can look at that. The problem with this is I didn't trust that first couple minutes. So that was the problem, and you're 100% right. That one, it's not pie in my face or anything like that. I mean, at least we had it and we talked about it, but we should have taken that short the whole way.
Someone just charged SpaceX to the upside.
Nice.
Did you see Joe just saw the same thing? I heard Joe say
it's probably Joe's personal account.
No.
No? Okay.
Joe's like every the rest of us. He's already in. So that was a pretty big volume spike. You know what? If it lets me trim, I'm just going to trim some right here. Why does it keep doing that? You know what?
Charge to the upside? Okay.
Yeah, to the upside. Sorry, just my level 2 is getting...
Oh, it did break down through 136.
So it broke down through 136. This is what I was trying to show you. I keep trying to get rid of this dark pool wick that's here, apologies, it just keeps on coming back and there's nothing I can do about it. So I can't even call it a late reporting wick because it's never even traded that price. But it just broke the trend line. I was getting in on the way back up and then it broke back into the upside. Also a double bottom on DRAM, so I'm not sticking with this. And I might have missed the reload opportunity in SLV, but it hasn't gotten to that volume weighted average price yet. It's still heading lower, so we're just gonna hold on to this. I'm glad we didn't get back into DRAM. I don't want this breaking the 137. The whole thesis was I wanted weakness underneath this price level. So if it breaks 37, I'm out. SpaceX has been, I don't know, it's been one of the best stocks for me this last couple of weeks, but I do not want to give up more than we're making on it when we're getting green. So we'll give it the buck and change and see what it can do from there. The market's coming right back into the lows. This is the thing. We pop, the market's right back into lows. I was just telling you how DRAM was making that curl, and then sellers start to come in as well. So it's like the buyers, I don't know, the buyers have not been nearly as strong on some of these reversal plays. And yes, TPS reports, SpaceX does have the launches late today. Really, I don't think fundamentals are here for SpaceX. Like unsuccessful launches matter, successful ones are priced in.
All right. Yeah, that's probably about right. We're not going to worry about, hopefully they're all successful.
Well,
even if they're not successful.
The assumption is success at this point.
I don't even think that really would affect the price, but it may, you never know. We did get stopped out there of Intel. We got back in and just took some more money on that short there because we might have taken out the top there, but it just fell back into 99 again, and we got more out on that move. So I think it's just risk to reward right now. It's not really making any sense here to get back into this Intel, but I wanted to try it. There it is. I want to try it one more time, and it just didn't work. So we made money, faded it out. Now we can leave Intel alone just for a couple minutes and look for something else that we want to trade. I mean, we'll try to hold on to this Apple and see if that can go just a bit higher. But as I already said, we don't have a whole bunch of money on that one quite yet. I'm going to try to go SpaceX short up there around that 137-ish area. I know Neil's talking about that as well. So we'll watch out for that trade to come through. I don't mind a 136 break down again because that was sort of the level that we had written down. But I like here Google as well, maybe as a potential 370 long if we can come into that area there. We did say that AMD was potentially a trip to the downside today. Pretty choppy right now. We have new home sales coming out in 1 minute. We'll go over to Adara for that news as well. I don't know if that's going to be a market mover, but something to look at. Business inventories coming out as well. A strong stock over the last couple of days has been Alibaba, and that remains true today. Again today, wow, Apple is now $4, $3.50 in the money and going right now. Wow, I got to see now. This is what I mean. Like, try to hold on to something because you never know like where these prices will go. And there goes Apple. We'll wait at the 80 marker there to get $3.50 clean on this name. Again, buying the dip, man. No better trade there today than that dip buy on Apple, other than I think that short in the NASDAQ. And we'll see if that one tends to come through again for us now. But okay, Adara, it's numbers. Let's go back over.
NAHB Housing Market Index 35 forecast, 35 previous. Pending home sales change month over month, negative 0.5% forecast, 3.8% prior. Business inventories 0.3% forecast, 0.5% prior. Business inventories coming in line here with estimates, so 0.3% as expected. NAHB Housing Market Index 34, just below estimates of 35. And the pending home sales change month over month, markedly lower than what we were expecting here, negative 5.4% versus negative 0.5% expected. So again, slightly lower than expected NAHB housing market number here, much lower than expected pending home sales print, and in-line business inventories. SPY here continuing to bounce off of lows. You're seeing the same for the NASDAQ. Let's talk about some stuff that's going to be on watch and in play today. Here is SNDK, one of many memory names that's trying to bounce here off of lows. You've got SanDisk. You've got Micron here looking very similar, and SKHY in its fifth session of trading in the U.S. and its fourth full day of U.S. trading, also trying to bounce here off lows. So memory remaining volatile and in play. We know the likes of NVIDIA and some of these other chip names are going to be on watch here as well. NVIDIA making a whole bunch of deals in Japan announced last night. TSM, another chip name on watch. Taiwan Semiconductor here with earnings, EPS, and sales beating estimates. We'll also take a look here at some other day one earnings plays, including UNH, holding up relatively well here near those pre-market highs. We've got as well GE, another earnings name. This one is near lows. And then ABT, I was seeing apparently this one at its highs was having its best day since 2002. So earnings names on watch ahead of Netflix's report. I also want to mention an IPO in focus, CSQR. This name's going to debut here on the New York Stock Exchange. C-Square, they basically own some data centers. They also have co-locations of other data centers. Their whole space, as you might have guessed here, data centers, co-location, and connectivity. IPO price of $21. Tap here, theoretical auction price, also at $21 for now. So keep an eye on this IPO. We send you back over to the guys, so do make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks, Darren. Yeah, that IPO is interesting. That C-Square is interesting, but the tap being flat's kind of boring, and right now the paired volume is only a few 100,000 shares, so pretty small early, but we expect a good one.
Yeah, we did definitely expect that. We want to thank Mitch for coming on today, and we're going to talk about trade the pool right now because the markets have been extremely active lately, and this kind of environment, of course, creates big opportunity. That means more setups and more momentum. But to take advantage of these conditions, you need two things: discipline and, of course, access to capital. And that's where Trade the Pool comes in. Instead of being limited by the size of your own account, traders can access firm capital and focus on executing their strategy and managing risk. No more fear of blowing up your own personal account. No more moving your stop loss too early because you're worried about your savings. This is what we call limited risk trading. If you want to take advantage of the volatility in today's market, do it with Trade the Pool and go there, tradethepool.com. Make sure you do hit that QR code in front of you and give them some love. It's Trade the Pool. We want to thank Mitch for coming out. And of course, Neil and I both as well, sitting here trading on a prop floor. And, that is part of the advantage here is that we can put out on hopefully, bigger trades than maybe we would be able to in our own account because we're not using our own money. And, funded traders, of course, get, up to, I don't know about Trade the Pool or anything like that, but you can get millions of dollars on a funded account. So, we'll watch out what's happening in the markets for you, and you guys will watch out for your own trading and go get it at Trade the Pool. And of course, we trade here at Real Trading. And we'll be discussing prop trading and whatnot moving forward. And we also do want to bring up the fact that there's our Real Trading book, which is right here.
There it is.
And this is by Real Trading founder.
You get a free orange too.
There as well. Yeah. Well, Neil will send you a free orange. I can't guarantee that Amazon will. But right now it is 99 cents on Kindle.
That one.
It was when it was released there in the month of June and into July. They're the #1 finance book there on the market. So go check it out right here. Talking about the value of that human touch in the marketplace. Yes. It's not just an algorithmic game. It is a game for everybody. So go find it out. Talking about the advantages and disadvantages of prop trading, even in that book. So go grab it today. That, of course, is Real Trading.
Absolutely. And look, whether the algos are involved or not involved, one place they are is on any headlines that you might see that could move oil. Well, if you're looking for more reasons why, the book just fell.
I guess I didn't put that book on there properly.
USO breaking the lows as the market goes a little bit higher. No, but that was a good dramatic effect. I don't know why it was like, what just happened, as if it could have been anything but the book. Obviously, this sucker is not going to cause that noise.
Book's not going anywhere. The market
and it's durable too. That's the other thing you got to keep. Very durable, which is fantastic. No, but in all seriousness, SNDK, my goodness, load. SNDK popped through VWAP and is now see how quickly this is reversing. I tried to get there fast enough, but I couldn't. So that's why I was looking at that DRAM again. I hate this Blue Ocean. I love you, Blue Ocean, but sometimes when I bring it up first, I hate you. So right back at the price that we were in the first time is DRAM. So I want to see it close, holding underneath VWAP, and then we'd reload it. I also feel like there's an opportunity to reload with this move up in SLV. It's just one push away, like one up push away, and then we can grab it. SpaceX is right back at 136 even, which is more or less where we're in it. So kind of nothing burger there. And I still want to fade ASTS. They were raising money. This won't pop. So if it's not going to go up, I might just have to take a shot at it off of these, like right in here off the lows in front of 58 before it breaks out yesterday's bottom. The ASTS raising money. That was the cap. It was a bit of a oddly structured raise for them. And Sharif has it all in his notes. So if you get trust me, you get Sharif's note, it was great detail because it's definitely it's convertible from a huge price range from like 79 to 140. So it did provide some relief for the dilution.
All right, you know, we have written down SpaceX at 136. It was just dancing around here. Better trade probably in and around VWAP right now. So let me take another fill right here. I still want to wait for 137 for SpaceX to come through. 137.50, obviously that high there. And you know, it did wick out almost up into 138. So we do know that there's some strength in this name here today, but I just want to stick with my guns here a little bit and try to short this, but it's not really moving around. The other name there, SKHY. I don't know why. I'm still stumbling with that symbol. I don't really know why, but yeah, so it's a pretty simple one. Like, it's actually like SK Hynix. Like, it's very, very simple. I don't know why I'm struggling with it, but yeah, anyways, SK Hynix right now as we look to see where that's coming from, and it looks like it's trying to go back there to the upside right now as well, holding out VWAP right now at 164, looking like an upside play there for SKHY. SK Hynix going there as well. Apple's pulled all the way back. We have 2% left of Apple, potentially a reload. I have no idea. Almost like there's news here on Apple or something, Adair. I know you just stepped away, but like this name with the market ripping here, Apple, in my opinion anyways, not necessarily the right one, should be going what I thought higher right now. So Apple pulling back in. We'll wait for 327 again, I guess, before we reload this. But this is what I'm working with now. It's Apple. Nice little pullback into some levels there as the market gets right back into VWAP. Maybe that's a short for the NASDAQ. Nothing yet. Okay, no. So it's all good. Maybe the NASDAQ is short at 74.50, sorry, on the TQs. But yeah, Apple with a move down there. We have 2% left. So I'm not even, it didn't even affect my level 2. I just all of a sudden saw the unrealized go down to $1.50 in the money, and I was like, what the hell? But there's TQs back to the 200 period, potential short again area setting up here in the market. But we said we didn't want to stand in front of some of these moves, and right now that's exactly what we would be doing here if we shorted the NASDAQ. So let's give this a little bit of room, man. We're at our daily goal. It's been a good one here. We just got to work with SpaceX now and see what this name wants to do. Maybe higher, man. It doesn't look like it wants to go lower for now.
No, and I'm sort of with you. Like, it's not really showing you any signs of weakness, and that's sort of the thing. The other thing is showing a lot of strength is IBIT. IBIT's actually already breaking out. Look, Bitcoin is leading the NASDAQ as we speak, but I'm zooming out so you can see the potential head and shoulders setting up here at 36.8. I see that trend up. I see a level like that. I think reversion up top, but it has a lot of room before it even gets there. I mean, we just looked at SpaceX, so like I'm in it too, but part of why I trimmed here at VWAP, like that was not a convincing, like it broke the trend, but it's holding above the volume weighted average price, not beneath it. So get back under, and then it's an add. That's the way I would look at that particular name. USO going down is definitely going to help the markets, and thank goodness we didn't try to re-short DRAM. Because it couldn't lose VWAP, it's continuing to trend higher. So let it get to 55, and then that becomes a little bit of a thing for sure. Yeah, really not seeing anything else that is setting up. The market's pressing higher, and every time I look at, like I see an uptick, I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna give us the volume weighted average price on SLV, and it just doesn't get up there. So into strength, you're patient with your shorts. If the market's pressing higher, you should get the price that you should get the price that you're thinking about into that strength. You don't want to force it by adding down here and then the market continues higher and you get burned. So not going to force the action at all. But man, this one is churning. And yeah. Has Bitcoin found the bottom at 60 and we're just never going to get that 50?
Yeah, I don't think so, but maybe. There's IBIT right here on the sticky note at 36.70. So we're almost there. So I'm sitting here waiting at 65s to take that short. So I will be short very, very soon here on IBIT as long as this trend continues to go. All right, we've got Adara with some news.
So there's a story in Apple, but this story is about half an hour old. I'm just seeing it circulate now on social media, but I did look into this. So right after the bell, basically just after 9:30 a.m., Bloomberg reports that Apple is preparing an OLED iPad mini with low-end and Air updates coming in 2027. So an iPad update, again, this was released just after the bell, but just seeing it circulate in social media now, and not really sure why this would cause the drop in the stock. If I see anything else, I'll let you know. You guys are asking about headlines on Apple. That's the only one I have. Back to you.
All right, I mean, that could have been part of the spike up.
Yeah, that's
for Apple,
the spike up.
And then now it's kind of saying like, wait a second, should we really be up 2% or whatever we were at the highs? And now we're fading back in. And again, a possible reload spot there for Apple, as we had mentioned a couple times, but I'm not going to do it. I've made the money there. We're going to give it a little bit of a room to breathe. We're at the highest spot we've been at all day right now, to be honest with you. Intel did give us that initial break down there, and then we got stopped out. So I guess the thing is, we're at the highest spot because we're able to get out of Apple near the highs. But this trade on Intel, again, a potential another short. As Scott Tomlinson, what's up, my good friend there, in the chat was mentioning that, hey, semis are finally starting to catch a little bit of a bid underneath it, which would make sense, but NVIDIA's not. As we look over there, we look at AMD as well, 516. That was a decent bid, but just back into highs. We just looked at some Intel. And then SKHY, SK Hynix, one of the more recent names, of course, not really doing a whole heck of a lot, and Neil's already been focusing a little bit there on DRAM, so we can have a look at that. And
that's starting to get strong.
That's, basically back to the day's high again on DRAM, and maybe now starting to pull back. Okay, new position. IBIT. All right, so I'm going to give this one to 80s. Basically into yesterday's level right there. If this breaks above 80, then we can get out. We'll average this in at 70, and that's that. So right now, short at 65, as we had mentioned there, as it was coming up. So another trade for me here. IBIT, we're short on IBIT right now, 1 unit only. We'll give this a little bit of a run to see what winds up happening. If we get a bid down there at 55, 56, we'll take it. And then we'll put a bid down here at 45s or so. I mean, that level right there, 50 maybe. Let's put a bid down there at 50. We'll see if we get that. So whenever I say 50, I'm going to go to 51. When I say 55, I'm going to 56. So, we'd want to get ahead of some of the levels that I like, just so we get that fill, because 1 penny here or there is really not going to make the difference. I'm going to be more mad if it comes in and we miss that level. So right here, we're bidding 56s. We can see if we could take that. That's 9 pennies right there, as clean as you like right there on IBIT. So, I mean, boom, chakalaka. And it's not like we didn't write that down, man. We wrote down this level an hour and a half ago. So there it goes, IBIT. We'll see if it's coming back in to the downside. SpaceX going. But, for me, this is a very, very light position. We'll wait to see if it comes up to 137. We'll see if we can fill there. And then we'll wait for, a little higher. But right now, SpaceX not doing a whole heck of a lot, to be honest with you. But it's IBIT.
It's really
that just gave a little bit of profit there on that last trade.
Nice. And look, SpaceX, I wish I could tell you it's doing much. It's just dancing in a tight range. So is ASTS, but it's with the trend. So I said if we don't get any kind of a move into VWAP, then we're going to go the short in this consolidative bottom. Well, this is the NASDAQ blasting through VWAP, and this is the only bounce that ASTS did. So we're short here, going to give it to 58 and look for the overnight lows on ASTS is going to be the bottom that we're interested in. And Ollie Oxenfree is asking, why is Micron underneath 900? Because all of the chip names were down because TSM's great earnings were met with selling. So that,
not great enough.
Well, exactly. Not great enough, CapEx concerns, and then so you get continuation from yesterday when everyone was, it's not exiting the memory trade, but getting out of the frothiest part of the chip trade, I think is the best way to think about it. So again, if you're asking why some of those names that went parabolic or had been going parabolic all year are down, this is it. It's a bit of a sentiment shift, and it's the reason why Apple's strong. It's the reason the mags have been good the last couple of days, some rotation. Also rotation into, hey, let's give some flowers to somewhere that nobody's trading today. UNH. Oh, of course. UNH is up 6%, but of course, when I finally bring it up, it's going to be at the lows of the day. But good report for them. I know it always seems like you don't bother mentioning a strong stock until it is to the downside. But I don't think anyone really is day trading this. Maybe Adara because it's in her style. But there's some rotation happening. I think that's why you're looking at non-chip related names right now.
Yeah, I don't like holding anything really against me for too much for too long. So this SpaceX is starting to get a little bit antsy for me here. All right, this Ruby was a name that we brought to you guys earlier here. Was this on the watch list, Adara? RUBI? All right, so it's done 21 million shares. It's going to be one of the top names for volume here today. We can scan for volume in a second and have another look to see what is exactly leading. But 360 now, looks like it wants to break a little lower. This is the levels it looks like that we were at all yesterday, and then today, a pop out of nowhere on Ruby. But you can see that this one did have, it looks like a 200 to 1 or so reverse split back in June there, and then now today making a move back in one more time. But again, like our charts here, just no volume yesterday. It's all the volume here today on RUBI. So stay tuned for that one. Another out on IBIT. I took 57s again. Just we bounced back off there. We got up to 60 again. So we'll wait to see if this one wants to come back in. Hopefully it does for us there on RUBI. Good level there. And we were just talking about SpaceX. We are doing that. Just looking to see if there's anything else. These are some of the names that have been halting so far here today and not much going on. And then there was
V's at VWAP.
VVVE.
Yeah, like
another 45% today.
Yeah, another 45 points. It did eventually break 40, but for the small cap traders, it's still above VWAP. So I can bet you Luis ain't shorted, and Sharif will probably still be looking at it. But again, it hasn't done any halts. But this is a super, super volatile name. You saw it drop, like it lost half of its value from the highs in yesterday's trade. So this range that you're seeing might not be the whole deal when it comes to the day for V. Like I could easily see this getting 50 or just as equally likely to hit 25. Another reason why I'm not, unless it halts, I think that could give you like a halt and then consolidate and then maybe a re-entry. But for me, I'm going to stay away from that bad boy. Still ASTS sliding around. The market continues to bounce, and it's holding the bottom end of the range, which is good. But like you said, SpaceX refuses to make that breakdown. Like it broke the trend, and all it's doing is holding, like the prior bar, which is where my stop is just holding it. So I trim some when it's like, oh, that looks too strong. It's back above VWAP. But it hasn't given any reason to add back in with the same stop. So I'm just going to be holding this for the time being. Before we go to Adara, just a quick update. SLV will not bounce. So I am just going to reload it at 50.5 at this point. Like we're not getting VWAP. I'm just going to sit on the offer.
Before we go to Adara, though, we did get memberships. So I do want to say a big shout out here to, and here it is right here. There's 20 of them flying through there. So thank you for 20 memberships from Alejandro. So there it is, man. That's $100. So thank you so much for that, man. $100, $5 each times 20. So if you're in the chat, you just got those memberships. We want to say a big thank you to Daniel for sure for that one. And a big shout out to everybody watching us on TikTok, everybody watching us worldwide, wherever you're streaming from, we're there. And, we want to make sure that all of you are seen. And we do have, our consolidated feed there with the chat, and just really important that all of you just keep keeping the community and keep putting those ideas there in the chat. We have the stock visualizer. Any sort of stock you want us to talk about, $ that name and that ticker symbol, and it'll identify it for us. And Neil and I will be able to look at it one more time. I got out there at 329, man. I mean, Apple made that dip down. It went to 328. We had debated buying some more. We're out there at 329. Maybe too bad about that one, but we'll hold on to it now as a trade if it comes back into 327. Look, I could have held it for the glory, but we had 2% left. So I wanted to get out of it so I can worry about something else. And the only thing I'm worried about now is IBIT dancing around here. So from one trader to another, it's Neil and I over to Adara.
I want to talk about a story first before we get into small caps. CRCL in focus. Right around 10 a.m., Fortune released a report saying that Visa is going to be launching a new platform to provide stablecoin services to more than 200 million merchants. Now, obviously, that would put it in competition with CRCL, which does stablecoins. Neither stock is moving right now, but I did want to mention this headline. Let's get into these small caps. We're going to kick it off here with TGHL. This is GrowHub. TGHL. Okay. Okay, we'll just talk about the story here because GrowUp Trading Higher announced a $400 million merger agreement with NCAM. You've got a $36.5 million market cap and a float of 12 million shares. DXST is next here, decent holding. This one trying to curl here off these lows. No news that I could find. You've got a $5 million market cap here and a 1.2 million share float. Last but not least, ATPC. Yesterday after the bell, sounds like Jane Street disclosed a new stake here in this company, ATPC, with the $3.5 million market cap, 470,000 share float. Lots of small caps on watch as we send you back to the guys.
All right, thanks, Adara, for that one.
Thank you, Dad. I don't mean to throw any shade on decent holdings, but if it's called decent holdings and the chart looks like this, I'm not. I mean, you guys all see what you all see what I see. Everyone sees what I see. I'm just saying. There's nothing decent about the rug jobs that it seems to pull on every single bounce. That's all. You got to be able to zoom out and take a bigger picture look of everything. So look, ASTS is trying to break back down, but SpaceX is continuing to befuddle here. relative strength in SpaceX today is now just normal to the market because the market's bounced and effectively the market's caught up with SpaceX just from a pattern standpoint. Like I know SpaceX is still up 1 point. I'm fighting a sneeze here. I'm going to try not to. Once it takes out this prior bar, I'm just jumping out of it. There was never a point to have added back in the shares that we got out at VWAP, but we're just going to let this one break out. And then my stop is just above there for sure. So is what it is. I'm out. We'll take our first L of the day, and it'll be on SpaceX. The other 3 shorts have all worked, but hey, there's always something strong out there in the market for you, believe me. And it looks like today is SpaceX's day. Yatube says, Lucid, what do you trade? Up 8%?
Yeah, I mean, it was up huge yesterday.
Well, I'm 95% sure we had a viewer, I don't know if you remember this, say that they were going basically all in on Lucid at the bottom.
Yeah, that was funny.
I remember that we couldn't tell if they were joking around, but the first halt up was at $3. They refute the story. It is now more than green from there. Some shorts probably getting squeezed. Lucid does have a decent short float. So, for the technicals, $7 is the next key level on Lucid. So that's what I'll give you. You got $7. That's where you should be looking for a big price level on Lucid. Personally, I never look at a chart at this and think opportunity outside of where am I going to try to fade it. So, and it's too strong. So maybe a little bit later in the day I could take a shot at it. But right now, Lucid is like, it's burning people. Because I guarantee you there's some people that probably got into short on that, held it thinking there's going to be more to this, and now they're just getting burned as they try to unwind. So
everything's collapsing now, including Intel just bang, down $1 right there almost immediately. The name that I've been sort of hinting that could be a great short is AMD, and that just went huge to the downside, down $10 over the last 5 minutes, right, or 10 minutes or so, right there for Advanced Micro Devices, potentially a buy zone down here into the low of the day again for Advanced Micro Devices. But I'm thinking pretty negatively, obviously, about the space. I know Neil stopped out up there. We actually took Neil's stop out and bought some more ourselves, or shorted some more ourselves. And right now, though, it's come right back into VWAP for SpaceX. So, like I said, we knew we'd be trading this name today. Didn't expect it to be this strong, that's for sure. I think we both thought about a short for it, but here it comes right back in. So here we go, man. Let's bid out some there at 23s, and we get that fill right now. So SpaceX, good movement off 37, and that was a level that we were waiting for. Didn't put on too many. I was actually waiting for more up here at 137.50. Was hoping that it shot the moon into that level, but it didn't. So we'll play a pullback right now in SpaceX, put a little bit of profit there into the pocket, and we'll worry about our next trade here. I'm just going to get more out of IBIT. I mean, I don't know what this market really wants to do. Our best fills here have been 57s. We got a 56, and then we got a 57 a couple times. We're trying to get out of half of this. I'm bidding 58. If we get half, we get half. I don't think the SpaceX story is done. I do still think it goes higher.
Oil
actually.
spike.
Oil spiking right now? Okay, so we can get a story potentially there from Adara.
There is no story on oil that I've been. I have.
There goes IBIT, by the way.
I just kind of looked at the old X there and didn't hear anything in the ear. I haven't seen anything. I didn't see a truth either from the president. I'm going to refresh it. But there is a bit of a spike. A reminder, it's Thursday. There's going to be nat gas inventories in about 5 minutes.
We got more super chats here. So again, another 20 memberships, another $100
Thank you, Alejandro.
From Alejandro coming in there. Again, 40 memberships today at $5 each. So you got to go into YouTube. You got to ask one of those large language models how to accept YouTube memberships. You got to go to your YouTube profile, and there's a little tab there, a little button that you push it. So I think it just gives whoever's in the chat. And right now, we probably have about 40 or 50 participants. So as long as you join the chat, most likely you're going to get one of those. And the memberships, of course, if you have the membership sheet up there, Andre or Tiffany, we could talk about that again. It gives you Sharif's morning note. It gives you some videos. It gives you the emojis and some fun little things there in the chat as well, loyalty badges and whatnot. But here we go, man. Diamond hands right now. Let's see what winds up happening with SpaceX. We're going to take a 136.10 fill. Hopefully it breaks back down below 136, that's for sure. But nice move down, and there it is. We take a 10. Now we're starting to, hopefully come back in to the downside. It's only in the money now because we took that 137 short, but, we did have to hold this against ourselves. So we are looking for a little bit of a break down now on SPCX off the level that we wrote, man. We wrote down 136. So hopefully we'll be able to get that. And man, even though that was only 2%, doesn't look like it was a great out for me there on Apple, as that's coming right back there to the upside. But iBit, we only have 30% left. It's not really acting properly. I'm going to stop out of iBit if it does. I'm not even going to go higher on this name. I was going to, but cancel that trade now. Just 36, 66. Oh, let's go 67. If it breaks a little bit higher,
There it is.
We'll get out there. So, so far so good on that trade as we sit around and sort of count the money here so far today on some of these trades. But we'd like to count a little bit more up on SpaceX. So hopefully that will drip down. Let's put a bid here at 90s just for small, and then we'll wait for that bigger move to happen on SPCX. I'm bidding 135.60s. It would be the bigger fill if that comes in there on SpaceX. But so far, so good here today. We'll just wait to see what the next trade brings us.
Yeah, with 3 minutes until I said it was nat gas inventory, so I do have boil up. I want to take a break of the range wherever it might be, although it's not range bound like it was. The last couple of Thursdays. See how I always go to Blue Ocean first? The last couple of Thursdays, it's been a little bit more consolidative going in. And then last Thursday was actually a little bit more of a trend. This is an upward trend. So I usually like the break of the trend in the other direction. We'll see. Because in 3 minutes, if we do break down, you'll probably see me trigger in on a break of the low. If it goes to the upside, then effectively no trade. Like, I'm only looking in one direction. I know you can bracket it and just go in either direction, but that's not the way that I want to play it. So I'm going to be looking for that trend break to the downside. If it fills, it fills, and then we'll put our stop at the other end of the range. There's a refresher at 57 on ASTS on the even, so I'm just going to move a bid in here. The next time it gets down there, I'm just going to look to get out. I'll take that fill, and then maybe we can reload it back up here in front of the 58. If ASTS is going to have a dollar range at the bottom, fantastic. With only a couple of minutes to go till 10:30, one name that we have not really talked about today, there's some kind of I saw a note about a shareholder potential lawsuit over this letter from the CEO. I don't know how far that's going to get, but IBM almost hit $200 even. We were talking about 220 being a key level.
Yuck.
I don't know. If it breaks $200, even I'm starting to think DCA. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I can resist picking some. If I see a 1 and an 8, I don't know if I'll be able to resist picking some up. We break 200, I'm throwing a stink bid somewhere. It's just a matter of where. Like, I can't believe how bad it's gotten for IBM. But technically, you're still within like the whole 3-day rule idea. This would be day 3 after the dump off. How quickly we forget.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even realize it was down to $200.
204.
Yeah, still, either way, man, that's too low for me. All right, so we talked about having 30% left. So if we're going to take out 70% for 7 and 8 and 9 pennies, then losing, we got 67, I think, proper. We might have got 66, we got 67s proper there on iBit. So, we'll lose 2 pennies on 30%. So we'll put some in our pocket there with iBit, but it just didn't go down as much as we thought. And, once you start to see these kind of patterns, man, it's about just getting out, and trying to figure out, hey, if it breaks lower, fine, we'll still have a piece of the pie on. But if not, man, then we got to get out. And so we take that out. And initially, when I first put that trade on, we were going to get out at 80s, but the fact that we started to see that kind of movement, no, maybe we can refresh it. And the reason why we liked 80s again was, if you look back into here, was some of these levels, that was sort of the closing price up there. And this is kind of why we like that short again to come through. So yeah, just some different looks here on iBit. And we'll give it a little bit of a rest now, as it appears to be strong. And the NASDAQ's not overly strong, but it has battled back and now looking to take out some of those levels. Like, I didn't short into here because we talked about the momentum that there was, and there was some questions about why are we not shorting, so on and so forth. But yeah, just too much momentum. We'll have to wait to see if it breaks it. It's a Dara with nat gas numbers.
Yeah, we're gonna get this natural gas change BCF number coming out here at 41 billion versus the forecast of 49 billion and the prior print of 61 billion. I'll pull up USO here. Not much of a reaction yet, guys. Again, just to go over those numbers again, coming in at 41 billion for that EIA natural gas change versus 39 billion expected. So slightly higher number than that forecast. Back to you.